Hello, hello. Very good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good day to you. Welcome to another live stream with me, 320 Sim Pilot. Today we're taking an A320 NEO in this rather fantastic Southwest livery for a flight from San Jose over to Phoenix. It's a bit of a gloomy day here in San Jose. I was a bit disappointed, hoping for some glorious sunshine for enjoying this livery, but there we go. Let me just sort out the camera a little bit for us. And yes, thank you for pointing out that I was parked on the wrong stand. I was over on the general aviation side when I spawned in, so a little bit of a last minute dash over here to the Southwest terminal, or main terminal of San Jose. Good afternoon to you all. Thanks, Slide Tester, for coming and subscribing. Mega Doobadoo, hello to you. Trouble Demon, good to see you over on Twitch. Mateo Chewy, thanks for coming along and moderating. I hope you're doing very well, Mateo. Great to see you here. Stormcode as well, thanks for joining us. And Stormcode, indeed, thanks for pointing out that I was in the complete wrong place. While we're here, before I carry on, let's just load up. So this is completely fresh, just spawned in. Let me just see. I think Navigraph will have it in because I did load that on the other stand. But we're going to get a sense of where the A32NX is at. This is the latest experimental version. So I always very nice to use this add-on. So let's just import the sim brief and let's get some ground equipment. See if we can get any sort of jetty. I think these are jetty stands. They do seem to have them. Get a ground power unit, get some bags loaded, leave the chocks and cones on. Good stuff. Right. There we go. Anyway, Peter DR, thanks for joining us. I hope you're doing well. Sorry it's been a little while since my last stream. I'm not using SimBridge today. Lauren V2500, thanks for coming along and moderating as well. Southwest Airbus, not a fan, Lauren V. Those of us in Europe won't mind too much because we're not so familiar with Southwest. But indeed, they are a 737 only airline. It's a bit like flying around in a Ryanair. In the wrong colours, or a Ryanair Airbus, I suppose. Although I would suggest Southwest's going for a slightly different angle than Ryanair, but there we go. James Atkinson, thanks for coming along on Twitch, and thanks for flying along today. James sat on gate 25, so if I swing the camera around, we might see James. Lock and Gaming, thanks for joining us. What have we got? We got another Southwest 737, the correct aeroplane. There's the terminal. Not a bad default terminal, this. And there's a rental car centre. Is this included? Was this updated? No, I know why. This is an Orbex scenery. I've got the Orbex one. That's what I've got here. So there's the rental car centre. And yeah, these are the sort of the far end style Southwest ones. And here we have another Southwest 737, which is perhaps just part of the scenery then, would be my guess. So I'm guessing that's potentially James over there, up on 25. Yeah, because we're on 33. So yeah, we're going to go for a hop over in this, like I say, rather impressive Freedom 1 livery it's called. America knows how to use its flag, so yeah, we get this nice taste. I haven't seen this aircraft for real, of course, but yeah, I did recently have the pleasure of flying on Southwest on one of their 737-700s, which was quite an experience. So yeah, I thought about flying a 737 today, but as we haven't flown the Airbus in so long, especially the A32NX, I thought it's about time we jump into the Airbus, because I haven't done an Airbus stream for a while. In fact, more recently I'd done a 737 stream, so I thought I might get in trouble. So, but I managed to find the livery anyway, of course. But there we go. Gareth Williams, good to see you. Ed Haslam, I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us. Joachim had trouble on the flights in the Phoenix, so he's joining us here. Thanks for joining us. AVYH says, to be honest, the Southwest Airbus looks better than the 737. Well, there we go. I think yeah, there you go. I won't comment on that. It's too controversial. Atul, long time no see. Yes, it's been a while. I am sorry about that. The podcast has been up, though. My chat with Katie Pilot, so do please check that out on YouTube and Spotify and so on. But yeah, sorry for the delay in the streams. I have had a little bit of a busy week, but there we go. Lush Edge, good to see you as well. Thanks for coming back and joining us. And Captain Wazzer, thanks for moderating. Dougal McTavish, thanks so much for coming along. I did see your message, Dougal. Sorry I didn't reply yet. I'm terrible at replying because I see the messages when I'm out and about usually, so I don't get a chance to reply straight away and then I forget. But anyway, thank you so much for sending that across. It was very interesting. But there we go. Trevor, greetings to you. And Nick K, great to have you here as well. Simon Taylor, I hope you're doing well. Simon says, evening captain, listened to the podcast with Katie Pilot on my way home from work yesterday. Just wanted to say how much I enjoyed it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks, Simon. I hope that format worked. We could have a few more guests on, hopefully, as we get used to that. It was very kind of Katie to give up her time and to come and chat with us. So I really enjoyed it. Very interesting to hear the whole other view on it all. But yeah, there we go. Chaos says, are you using GSX? No, I'm not. Alberto, hello to you. Thanks for coming along. Yeah, sorry, I'm way behind now. Lauren V says, this looks like a typical West Coast day out there, but the jetways are a little low. This might be a CRJ gate. There we go. Or even a 7.3 is pretty much a CRJ sort of height, isn't it? Flight Dispatch 320, thanks for coming along again. Great to see you here as well. Good. There's loads. Sorry, I'm going to have to move forwards. Dev Lima Beam, Elias Gamer, Peter DR, Dave. Yeah, so sorry for missing on EBOS. I think I see there. EBOS, great to see you. It is an epic livery, I do agree. Seb and Blake. We're going from San Jose. Gate 33, I think. Nick K says, great podcast. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. Obi Kenobi says, hello. Thanks to you for coming along. Hello to you. Laura V says, for anyone flying along, don't bother talking to San Francisco Radio. They're online for an event in Hawaii later today. They only just cover the entire Pacific Ocean just about. There you go. Okay. Awesome. So let's see where this aircraft's at. We'll do a full setup. We'll get it powered up and underway. Great livery. Obviously, so it's just the American flag over the whole fuselage. I like it when airlines spend a bit of money on the liveries. I don't like seeing mostly white airplanes, as we all know, and this is a good example of how you can spend your money and actually paint it properly. Very cool, very nice indeed, and it should look really nice once we get up and into the sun. Lee Brandt, thanks so much for the $2 super chat. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Lee. I can just see a 1 balloon, so thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I hope you're doing very well. Thanks for joining us today. Thanks for coming along. And thanks for your very kind super chat. Bernard says, hey Cap, testing the Boeing 78X with the Beta 2 of new avionics. It's a massive improvement. Is this the heavy division 78X? Have I got that right? Good to see you, Bernard. Thanks for coming along. And that's good to hear if it is moving along. I'm not connected to that sim. It's disconnected me. Thank you. What happened there? Right. Now we're going to see. I was going to say, because James is usually in a Speedbird, so that must be some scenery. And there we go. There's the Speedbird. Fantastic. Thanks for that. It's because I reloaded in on the right stand because I was in the wrong place. A bit embarrassing. Right. There we go. Mark says, just realised I saw this Wish Keep Remember livery in CLT last time I flew. Looks great in person. There we go. Yeah, I'd love to have seen this. I sadly flew on, I flew on a Southwest 737-700 as a passenger. It was an old one. It had the old livery, didn't even have their new colours, which I do like their new colours. A little similar to Flyby's livery before it went under the first time. But yeah, I like the Southwest livery, certainly. And it was interesting inside the airplane. It was all that sort of yellowed plastic because it had been around so long. But nothing wrong with that. Classic airplane. So, yeah, people are not too pleased with the choice of Airbus, but there we go. Oh dear. Lauren V says, when are we going to get some yellow bus operations out of DTW? Yellow bus operations, that must be Spirit then, I assume, which is the other low-cost airline. And then there's Frontier, who are the third low-cost, and is that about it? Oh, it's a beta of new avionics from working title, which are going to be rolled into the default Asobo 787-10. Interesting. So will that's going to bring the default 787 up to a standard, is it? I hope so. That'd be great. That'd be really great. Trouble Demon, thank you so much for your $20 tip. That's very kind. Trouble Demon says, always enjoy watching pilots fly these amazing wonders of technology. Cheers. Trouble Demon, that's very, very generous. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks for coming along today. Thanks for that incredibly kind tip. Really, really kind. And yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the videos. I'm sorry it's been so long since the previous ones. Like I say, just a little bit busier than I'd hoped, and that's potentially this summer, or certainly the next few months, are going to be busy. But that is the way of life sometimes. But we'll keep at it when we can. Certainly. I just realised I need to change my controls around, so I'm so sorry. Do excuse me for just a moment. This is always tedious to watch. But yeah, thank you so much, Trouble Demon, for the $20 tip. Really very kind. This is all left over from all my manoeuvring around A32NX. I really hope I have an A32NX set up in here. I think I do. Again, this should be automatic. It really should. X-Plane has that figured out. That's all good. That's good. That's all good. Perfect. Right. Master switches haven't worked for a while. So let's get ourselves up and running. So we've got radar on, landing gear lever down, wiper selectors off, batteries checked, good voltage, auto. Stereo power coming on. Let the flight warning computers come to life. Let's get some lights on for you all, as it is such a gloomy West Coast day. In my head, the West Coast was always brilliant sunshine. This is California, after all. Integrated lights as well. A bit of main panel lights. Hopefully that allows you to see something. And we'll do the overhead lights as well. Spirit are taking delivery of their first 321 NEO to DT. Where is DTW? Is that Dallas? I don't know. En route from Keflavik. Fantastic. Ebos says, awesome to hear your summit is going to be busy. Wishing you lots of blue skies. Thanks so much, Ebos. Yeah, hoping so. Not too many thunderstorms. Fingers crossed. Looks promising so far, says Bernard. Fantastic. I look forward to that. That flight sim guy says, can you explain why doesn't the Airbus allow for max auto brake on landing, or does it? No, it does not. You cannot use max auto brake on landing. The reason is max auto brake engages pretty much immediately. Both low and medium auto brake have a delay, so there's a few seconds. It has changed, actually. The medium auto brake has changed its timing on certain aircraft, but that's beside the point. The problem is, if you land, these all time their application from the touchdown or from the wheels spinning out. Max would just be immediate. So if you imagine landing and the nose is still in the air and the brakes apply full braking, and remember there's only braking on the main gear, so you're going to get maximum braking out of the aircraft and deceleration. The nose will just crash in and you'll damage the aircraft, so it's not used. You could potentially, I suppose, land and then press it. I don't know, I've never tried, but it would not be a comfortable or sensible thing to be doing. So yeah, it's not used on landing for that reason. Hence it's got this separated little line. Again, classic Airbus ergonomic design, that make it a separate button. Really just brilliant as ever. Good, so now that's online. Our flight warning computers, I think it triple clicked. This conversation came up on the Discord a little while back, but anyway, there we go. So now I'm going to run the AP fire test. That's good, and we'll get it up and running. What's the temperature? That's not too bad, actually. Probably don't need it just yet, but we will, otherwise we'll forget. Good, we've got the flaps to zero, speed brake retractor arm, parking brake handle on, accumulated brake pressure is all checked. We've got oil, a bit too much oil, hydraulic fluid, and we have oxygen. Great stuff. And also now in that section, it does include putting these to nav. That has changed. Now we're going to our flow, crew supply oxygen on, ground control, test the CVR, all of these lights out. Arm the emergency exits, no smoking to auto, seatbelts off, we have not fueled, nav lights on, strobe lights to auto, all the other lights will be off, anti-ice off, landing elevation in the auto position, air conditioning is all off for now, letting the APU warm up, ground power on, we'll do our battery tests. If we look down the electric page, and 2. A little bit quick perhaps for that, but there we go. All good. Fuel pumps, I'm going to put those on now. I think I mentioned before, a lot of pilots don't do that. They'll wait till after you swapped over from the GPU. Engine fire tests, all our starts and N1 modes are out in the normal position, as are our computers. Right, we've got our lights on the FCU. I'm going to stick in a random altitude until we get something otherwise. I'm going to go constraints on both sides. Flight director's on. This is not really part of the flow, it's something the pilots would set up themselves. We will set the QNH, which is 1018. And we will check that we have the anti-skid nose wheel steering on. Brake fans can stay off. We'll do the FMGC in a moment. Switching panel normal. As I said, radar can stay off. Radios will sort out in just a moment. Get the armrests. Can we get that out of the way? No, we can't. But anyway, there we go. Good stuff. Transponder, we're going to leave in standby, above, standby. Good. System 1 on. Awesome. So, let's load this up. Just jumping into the chat very briefly. They're doing the same for the default 747, says the Chaos. So this is good news. Presumably, yeah, this could be very good news if we can have an upgrade to the 787 and the 747, because they're very beautiful models. But there we go. The route for today, if you put exclamation mark route, is it working? Has my Ah, Cloudbot's not alive. Hopefully it will spring to life now. It's in the Discord. Oh, no, it's not in the Discord. Oh, I knew I'd forgotten something. My Discord has been playing up on me today. Let me just try and reload it. I'll put the route in there. Apologies. You can see it here as well, of course. KSJC, SPTNS, Jeffrey, Loschen, Boyle, Bravo Lima Hotel, Hydra. Yeah, my Discord is collapsed. I'm really sorry. Normally I'd post in Discord that we're starting to stream, and I can't do that today, which is a little bit disappointing. All I can do, let me just post it, maybe my phone can do it. Oh. A little bit of a shortened post, but there we go. So I can manage my phone for now. Good. So BTM Kiwi Gaming says, hey Cap, both the 787-10 and Queen 8i got a huge avionics overhaul courtesy of working title. It's been released in beta form at the moment for the upcoming AU2. Okay, interesting. I am looking forward to that. If you're on Steam, you can opt into the beta easily. I am on Steam. Okay, maybe I'll do that. Right. Jumping ahead. So it is Dallas, DFW. Okay. Awesome. Oh no, DTW is Detroit. Oh no, DTW is Detroit, DFW. Dear. Sorry, so is it Dallas or Detroit? I can't tell. Showdog says, cheers from Phoenix. A cloudy and gloomy day here as well. Oh dear, Phoenix was supposed to be sunny. I thought it was going to be a hot weather arrival. Throbs asks, has the 321X surpassed Phoenix in realism? It's not. It does different things. Let's try it out. Let's see where it is. I maintain like the A320 NEO. It's a different airplane ultimately, so things like rotate law are different and they are superb in this. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. This EFB is fantastic as well. Flight Dispatch 320, glad you had a busy day, and thanks for joining us. So the transition altitude is flight level 180 in America, but it's only flight level 60 everywhere else. So remember, transition altitude is an altitude, so it's 18,000 feet in America, and it's usually 6,000. Sorry, it's it can be 6,000 in the UK, but that's the last altitude you'll climb up to. Yeah. Transition level, it would be the way down, which changes. DTW is Detroit. Okay, so Detroit is Spirit. Okay. Mega Doobie says, hey Captain, just wanted to send a note of appreciation. I'm doing my 320 type rating right now. I'm watching your videos in Microsoft Flight Simulator prior to my type rating. Really helped make the progression into the course easy. That's very kind of you. I'm glad they were useful. And of course, I'll, as always, preface that by saying not for any real world use. But yeah, I'm sure your type rating is fixing any inaccuracies in my videos. So yeah, great. I'm glad you're enjoying the Airbus. It's a fantastic machine. I have loved flying the Airbus for all these years. It's just great. Yeah, I don't think, in terms of realism, I don't think this has final lap still. So yeah, that's a good point, Birdman. So it's unlikely that you're going to be using this to the same level or for certain approaches. Good for ILSs and so on, though, of course. And lovely just to use. I mean, for free, it's unbelievable. And the sounds are still remarkably good. Anyway, here we go. So San Jose to Phoenix. We've got that route, which I've imported. There's the weather. I did check it earlier today. It's my new policy now. Before streams, I would actually check the weather because it's caught me out twice on stream now. And of course, in real life, it's the first thing we check, even at the same time as which aeroplane you're flying. So it's, yeah, definitely something I need to do. Bit gloomy out of here, 9 statute miles visibility. Broken 1100, 16 degrees, which is fine. 27 degrees already in Phoenix, so probably hot weather ops when we get there. Over 30 just means leaving the flaps out, really. Maybe some brake fans, but we shall see. We do have brake fans today. Good. And look at these checklists. Interesting. Alright, they're just shortcuts. Very cool though. So what we'll do next is let's load up the FMGC. Oh, don't press that. Excuse me as I remember my keyboard shortcuts. There we go. Yeah, those of you who remember our last stream was a bit interesting as we moved around Fiji. Database is actually out of date now. I should have updated that, so apologies. We'll see which waypoints are and aren't in there. It's been a little while. We'll go to ATSU AOC init and we'll load in. There it is. Good stuff. Now we'll go to weather requests and we'll take KS JC, and as it's so close, KPHX. There was also an Arizona 1 livery, which I was pretty tempted by, but that was on the 737. I did already send that. Right. And that will receive. There it is. Print. Don't think we have any controller here today. No, we're not going to talk to Zach, as Lauren V said we don't need to, which is good news. James says, anyone know why I can't see glare details on my autopilot? They were there a minute ago. Is that, are you on the A320NX, James, or the Phoenix? Lurk mode for Dougal. Enjoy dinner, Dougal. I'm looking forward to a nice dinner after this. You don't need to do the AOC init, says Chaos. Just the init A request. Then the weather request will auto pre-filled with the departure of our alternate airports. Very good. Of course. Thank you. Remember, these pages here are not standard. They vary between airlines and so on. So I am... there's lots of features that airlines will and won't use. Some airlines barely use this and some use it intensely. So it does all depend. So it's always good to get tips because, yeah, I'm just sort of guessing, really. I'm not guessing. You can work it out, but yeah. Anyway, what I do want to do... Did I hit print already? Still a fantastic feature. And we'll go back to init and init requests. Flight level 390 for the short flights. Must be pretty light. IRS init shouldn't need doing. No, there it is. Cost 28. Fine. Winds. Let's load them in. So done. Data. Init A. We are Southwest 1015. That's how the Americans would say it. To Phoenix with an alternate of KTUS. I don't actually know where that is. I don't know where that is. Indeed, Igloo Foo. We are breaking tradition. We're not afraid of that here. Not afraid of that. We've flown many retro liveries on the wrong airplane. Oh, there you go. Spirit have bases at DTW and DFW. Well, I'll certainly get that wrong when we try and fly Spirit. I must fly Frontier. And I need to fly Q400. I'm in trouble. Somebody was wanting the Q400 last stream and I didn't do it. So that's my bad. But I had to get an Airbus stream in. It's been too long. If you want to load winds of all phases, you need to request them for each phase separately. Ah, thank you. Ah, that's unusual. Normally, yeah, you just load them in. But there we go. Thanks, Chaos. Good spot. Very good spot. Good. So, init A, flight plan. So we're looking at, we can basically use any runway out of here, but I did see a windsock looking rather suggestive about which way we should be going. Now this airport, the reason I loaded on the wrong side is it's strangely symmetrical. It's got two runways with thin terminals on each side. So there's the wind. So our nose is going to point to the left for takeoff. This is a really confusing way of doing it. So we're basically taking off on the northerly runway today. Let's bring up our charts. Yeah, we want to take off on 30 right then. Looks to be the runway with the headwinds. So, 30 right, we're going out via SPTNS to, where does it go?
San Francisco traffic.
SPTNS.
San Francisco traffic, Alaska 30 right, join us.
30 right, Sub ATC, that's fine. It doesn't seem to have any difference to it. So it's just the SPTNS 1. SPTNS 1 via, are we going via Jeffrey? I have seen the route, I promise. Yep, Jeffrey. That's our via. Good. That's visible on our flight plan, by the way, if you're wondering. So it's, again, always like I say, it's a puzzle. You're just matching it up. So we're going via SPTNS 1. Jeffrey is what we planned for. So insert. Let's just check that that makes sense against the charts, because it would be embarrassing if it didn't. We're going to take off, get above 570 feet, then we're going to overfly MLPTS, then we'll make our right turn above 900 feet down to SPTNS at 5,000 feet. That is a hard level off, and then above 13,000. Now clearances by air traffic, they're not here, so I'm going to put in 13,000 in the window. The reason I don't have to put in the 5,000 is, and we shall see if the fly-by-wire does this, I'll be curious, it should, remember the Airbus arms climb, so climb mode is managed climb. It doesn't default to open climb, so it should automatically have that 5,000 built in. So once we get in the air, in fact I can see it here, 5,000 in magenta, so that's good news, suggesting it's going to do the right thing. So let's just check, 570 feet is in there, then MLPTS, it hasn't marked it as an overfly, but it looks like it will. What I could do, I wonder if this will work. I think it does work in this now. Maybe it is, it's just the arrows hiding it. Well, there we go. That looks pretty good to me. 230 knots, round the turn we go, maximum 230. If it turns early, we can just pull heading for a second and then do it. Good. So that is the first part of the route. Then we're carrying on to Loschen, which is a direct, so I'll clear the discontinuity, then Boyle, then BLH. Arriving easterly into Phoenix. I don't know which runway. Just put in 07 right for no apparent reason. Someone will correct me later, because I am guessing Hydra 1. Probably via Alice, why not? What does it look like? This should automatically transition forwards, but we will work that out once we're underway. Good. So we've got stop altitude. Quick check of the MSA, 5,600 feet, so we're going to be climbing straight up to 13,000, so that shouldn't be a problem, and we're not going to divert off this SID anyway, because it's a pretty direct route, isn't it, the way we want to go. If I go onto plan and zoom out a bit more, we can see that, yeah, it's a straight line. It's a pretty efficient route. Good stuff. Right. Is anyone getting ads on YouTube? Yeah, you shouldn't be. Are they inserting ads while we're live, are we? I'm not doing it myself if they are. Apologies for that. YouTube did change something about adverts on stream, so I can do it manually. It shouldn't be inserting it automatically. If it is, apologies. I will check that it shouldn't do that next time, because I can see why that would be a bit annoying. Susan Wright is correct. Excellent. That's good news. Thank you. Valet, thank you so much. Valet297, really appreciate it. Glad you enjoy the videos. If you are using ad block and you don't mind not using it on my channel, that does help a little bit. But I can understand if it's putting adverts in the live streams, that is not great. But there we go. So anyway, good to see you, that Serious Pilot. Thanks for joining us. Flight Dispatch says, I'm flying the Spirit 320 today, but I've had to change pounds to kilograms. Yes, of course. Yeah. Okay. KTUS's Tuscan Airport, says Peter DR. Thanks, Peter. MSGN says, will we get a 747 or 787 stream at some point? Yes, we will. We really will. I really enjoyed flying the Heavy Division 78. Is it 2 years ago now? Feels like a long time. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I look forward to flying that again soon. Maybe not soon. Might take a couple of months. We shall see where we manage to fit it in. And there we go. Headwinds 330 is being updated to use a fly-by-wire stable, which includes the current dev build VNAV. Goodness me, it's all moving on, isn't it? All moving on. Oh, I see. YouTube is adding ads to everything that you pay. I see. Okay. Yes, sorry. We need inches, don't we? There we go. Inches. MSGN, good to see you. Thanks so much. Yeah, I do apologise if you're getting adverts. Right. So that is the flight plan. Secondary flight plan, still not active. A little surprised at that, but there we go. It's probably not a priority. It's not that useful unless you're doing something really complicated. Radnav can be auto-tuned, and time to load up some numbers. So over here, this stuff's great. Airplane, fuel. Now I'm going to leave it in kilograms because that works for me. We need 9524 according to this. Let me just check the paperwork. Always check the paperwork. No, that's not right. So let's do the download. There we go. 5.6 tons is the required fuel. I like that it rounds it to the nearest 100. That includes 15 minutes contingency, 1 ton. We know the weather's nice in Phoenix. I don't think we need any more than that. That's loaded in. That's done. Payload. Let me get this right. We're going to insert instance. And I think I press this. Board. There it is. Push back to come. Awesome. So what we'll just do is we can go... Oh no, we don't need to do anything. This is the fly-by-wire. I love this feature. Press that. 5.6 tons. Pretty light, but that's a NEO and it's a short route, so it makes sense. 60.9 takeoff weights. Winds we've already inserted. I will just put in the alternate fuel. Always useful. Alternate of 1 ton. Pretty light alternate fuel, so if we ditch the alternate today, we won't have much spare. 1 ton, there you go. There we go, we've got V1 at Southwest today. Great. Now, next step, diff strip performance. So, certainly flap 1. I'm imagining flex 69. Let me just check the length of the runways. Do they have takeoff performance in here yet? No. 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 No, I don't think they do. You don't need it. So, let's just check the length of the runways. The elevation is pretty low. 62 feet, basically sea level, that's fine. 3,300 meters inset threshold, but we can use that as part of the takeoff run. So that's fine. So let's go for flex. Let's do 60 just to be a bit conservative. Put in the speeds. It's generated a split, but there we go. 133. Pretty light in general. Good stuff. Transition altitude. It's 18,000 feet here. Yeah, which is automatically loaded in, which is good news. We'll go for standard thrust reduction acceleration. So I think we're in a good place. Everyone's on board. That can go on. Get rid of the GPU. Get some air on for everyone. It's probably heating up back there. 40 degrees. I hope not. That Serious Pilot says, I'm going to try and fly along, but I have a feeling I'm going to be on dinner duty this evening, so I may have to bang it after departure. No problem. Thanks to the Serious Pilot for coming along. Lauren B says, V1 is proper operator. We all know he flies 320 for Southwest. There you go. NTG, I did mention you already. I know the Q400 is needed. I know it. I'm so sorry. I had to get an Airbus stream in. It's been too long. Right, let's think what else we need to do. So in terms of a brief, let's get that done. So we are here. We're taking off from 30 right. So we're going to push back, head down, potentially Yankee, if not Zulu, and then get ourselves out. We've got full length departure in, although we know that any of those are going to be fine realistically. And then our takeoff will take us up 570 right turn and round on this departure. Sorry, 570 then 900 and round we go. It's going to take us initially below the MSA, level off at 5, and then above the MSA as we head out to Techie and onwards. Otherwise, we'll do 2 engines because it's a short taxi. We have a pretty light fuel load and a light payload, as we discussed, taking off at 60.9, so we can land straight back in if we need to in any sort of dire emergency. Otherwise, 5.6 tons of fuel. We'll go and sit in somewhere and think about it properly before coming back in if we have to. I won't do an emergency brief now. We're doing flat 1 takeoff. We'll leave the packs on as well. Aircraft's in good shape. And you'd also discuss sort of NOTAMs and any challenges about this particular airport taxi out. Like, I think in America this would be uncontrolled, wouldn't it? So we'd have to discuss that. Luckily, we're at the front of the queue today, unusually. Although there is some traffic out there who may be... Oh no, they're coming in. That's good news. So that's all good. In the meantime, of course, ground staff would be getting rid of the chocks and the jet bridge and the ground power. Maybe that goes automatically. Let's get the pushback system on. There we go. Yeah, there go the tugs and cones. Good. So checklist time, gear pins and covers removed. Fuel quantity, we have our 5.6 tons of fuel. Seatbelts are on. AIDs are in nav. Barref, we are on 3005, 60 feet, which is correct. Markers complete. 4-star checklist. Parking brake is currently on. Takeoff speeds and thrust. We have 128, 133. Thrust is flexing. It won't be up there yet. It's down here. 60. Windows are closed. Beacons come on. Right, let's announce it. 1228. We are on. San Jose traffic. Southwest 1015. Pushing back from stand 33 facing south. Southwest 1015. Let's get that right. So let's do a little flow. First lead is closed. Windows, doors closed. Beacon on. And we have our message. Beacon is on. This is a completely different checklist. I quite like it. It works. It's functional. But it's not many Airbus operators would use a checklist quite like that. I don't believe, unless it's changed. Right. Brakes are released. We have the tug. Let's go backwards. Away we go. Start the clock. Look at that. 7 minutes. 37 minutes. This is good news. Starting engine number 2. It's good speed. Parallel pushback. Love it. Fantastic sounds, isn't it? The working title is replacing Heavy Division. I'm in the beta and it's already way better. Interesting. Thanks, Igloo. Interesting to know. They've done a fantastic job on the Heavy Division, but it's nice to hear progress on the aircraft, certainly. It was indeed a fast setup. Ruben says, thank goodness an A320 stream. There we go. Ashley 7AX says Southwest and Airbus cursed. San Jose is rare airport wave ramp. It's a taxiway, says Lauren B. Lots of airports on the right and the west coast don't have too much space. Yeah, this is a very European airport with no space at all. I'm used to this. Sounds are great, aren't they? Getting a bit brighter. Love the sounds. Now, why is it? It's pretty slow. But that's fine, I suppose. Yeah, tug speed, I've reduced it slightly. That's good for me. Now, in Europe, this would typically be a straight pushback or something like that. Let's stop here so people can taxi behind us. Brake set to park, starting engine 1. Here's the PTU. Waiting for tug pin. So they should go away. We should see the nose return disk message leave. There we go. Yeah, I didn't actually manage to face south in the end. Off they go. Thanks, Zach, for the subscription. Oh, we'll just turn that system off now. Go back to our checklist. Check the engine's starting it properly. Approach online. Oh dear. Ruden says, just stop by to leave a like. Thank you so much. If you are watching on YouTube, do please leave a like. It does make a big difference for the channel. There's available. To neutral. APU bleed off. APU off. There's, you can hear the air conditioning restarting. Fantastic. Then as we're moving down, don't need the anti-ice. We're going to put that on. Reset the rudder trim. There we go. Flaps 1. That should have been on auto as well. There we go. Do the Americans use 7000s? Hopefully. Good. Let's run the after-start checklist. Anti-ice off. ECAM status is checked. Oh, one thing we haven't done is the pitch trim, of course, which is going to be 33.1. As ever, pretty central. A little bit nose down needed. Oh, the weather's much improved. That's looking nice out there now. Pitch trim 33 and rudder trim is at 0. That is complete. Next is the taxi checklist. Let's see what air traffic control would like to do with us. Departure ATC clearance, Southwest 1015. We're departing flight level 390, transponder 3765. Let's do that now. Transponder 3765. KSJC to SBTNS1, Jeffrey, and there's the rest of our routes. Climb by a SID. Climb by a SID X Mate 5000. Expect flight level 390 10 minutes after departure. 1201 departure frequency. I don't actually know what that means. I'm going to have to clarify. I think it means you don't need to maintain the 5000s, which is quite common. If it's quiet enough, they can just let you climb off these SIDs. That's the same in most of Europe. 1201, 30 right. ATC may change any time. Respond Wilco or contact 121. Okay. So let's contact 1201.
61, thank you for Romeo.
And let's get ourselves out. San Jose approach, Southwest 1015, stand 33. We've pushed back. Request taxi.
Southwest 1015, NorCal departure, good morning. ATIS information, Romeo current. Runway 30 right, taxi by a Yankee Alpha 1.
Thanks. So 30 right, taxi by Yankee and Alpha 1. And just to confirm, in our clearance, can we ignore the 5,000 feet restriction on the SID?
Southwest 1015, negative. Climb 6 at maintain 5,000.
Climb maintain 5,000, Southwest 1015. Okay, it was the opposite
American
of what I
761,
thought.
give way to the
So
Southwest A320.
we'll just put 5,000 in blue then.
Yankee from
Right, let's get out of the way. It sounds pretty busy. Yankee Alpha 1. So
I think
Yankee is the main taxiway there.
San Jose approach.
We're going to spin ourselves all the way around to the left, I suppose.
Rear wing 2233 with Romeo altimeter 300.
Ah, there we go. It means accept maintain 5,000 means to stay at 5,000. Goodness me. I did not manage to get that one.
Good afternoon.
Lights are on.
Good morning. Should I say I'm losing track of time here. Runway 30 right, taxi by Yankee Alpha 1. You can follow the American.
Lots of traffic around. Park brake released.
Yankee
Here we
Alpha
go.
1 will follow the American 320.
Do the brake check once we're around the corner.
Thank you.
San Jose Control, good.
Is that a land or livery?
Speedbird 999 with information Romeo on board.
Awesome.
Taxi to room West 30.
Flying the British flag as well.
Speedbird 999
Oh, I don't
NorCal,
have differential
departure,
thrust.
Good
That's
morning. ATIS information, Romeo current. Runway 30 right, taxi via Yankee Alpha 1, and you can follow the Spirit A320 entering Yankee from your just behind you. So if you pass in
There we go. You just have to be careful of the tail. Look at that.
right
Weather,
to left,
much nicer.
excuse me.
Americans giving way.
Right
I
to
heard
left
them
and
have to give way.
approximately,
So we are front of the queue for once,
10
which is
seconds.
always good news.
That's a safe there, visual there.
Right, brake check.
NorCal approach, good
All
morning.
good.
Speedbird 224
We're going
Tango,
left here down
pushback
Yankee.
From stand 27 onto Zulu. Information Romeo altimeter 3005. Request taxi.
Looking for Alpha 1.
Speedbird 224 Tango NorCal departure. Good morning. Runway.
It sprung
30
to life.
right,
This is
taxi
pretty
by
cool.
Yankee Alpha 1. You can follow the
Okay, flight
company
controls.
20.
Full up.
30 right, Alpha
Full down.
1 by
Neutral.
Yankee and follow the
Full
company.
left.
Speedbird 224 Tango, thank you.
Full right. Neutral.
Southwest 1015, advise ready for takeoff.
Wilco, Southwest 1015. Other pilot would check theirs. Let's also make sure we get to the correct. Alpha 1 is full length. That's good. That's nice and simple. Good. Right, let's see if I can do this while taxiing. You can do it. Not that one.
Falcon departure, good
Go on.
morning.
American 34 Kilo with information Romeo at stand 35 and
Yes.
because I'm pretty departure here and
Still on the ground, on the taxiway. That's good news. Right. We're also going to... I'm just going to turn it off for a second while I...
American
do the
34 Kilo, NorCal
controls.
departure, good morning.
Weather radar,
You can
auto brake to
expect
max.
depart anytime.
Cabin
Sure,
alerted.
we are
Take off
ready for
config.
start of here at stand.
Right, taxi checklists. Flight controls, checked. Flaps.
American 34 Kilo, push and
We have
start on the
config 1
taxiway
MSF.
Zulu,
That's what we
approved
expected.
advisory.
Green and blue.
We shall start on the Zulu approach.
Radar picture windshield are on. Engine mode select normal and ECAM memo. Take off in the blue. That is taxi checklist complete. Lineup checklist is going to be take off runway, TCAS and packs. Okay, good stuff. Right, how's everyone feeling? Does everyone feel ready to go? No, Phoenix has been behaving for me, so I would also use the Phoenix. It was a tough call, but we haven't flown the 321X for a while, and this livery was available, so it all came together. Looking for Alpha 1, which is full length. Look at that livery. Beauty. Absolute beauty. Right, I think it's time to go. Matthew Presley, good to see you. Matthew says, got a taxi at 35 knots per Whiskey November SOP, which is Southwest. Yeah, there we go. So clearly has some of the same reputations as perhaps Ryanair does in the Europe. Southwest 1015, we are ready.
Southwest 1015, runway 30 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear takeoff 30 right, Southwest 1015. Go on the approach, go on the runway. Let's get the lights on. Good stuff. Okay, we are ready to go. We're clear for takeoff. We've beaten all the traffic today. That's a rare treat. Right, rolling takeoff. Half side stick. Takeoff. Fantastic.
And North
Man, Flex 60 SRS.
I'm sorry. Good morning.
Order thrust is blue.
Southwest 1339 is descending on the Silverton 6, sending through 13.5. We have information, Romeo.
Yeah,
Southwest
nice long runway. That
1339,
inset
NorCal
threshold
approach, open
makes it look
altitude,
shorter, obviously, on the charts than it actually is.
006, expect ILS from 011 approach.
V1 now rotates.
ILS,
Holding the
3011,
side stick.
3006, Southwest 1339.
Rotate all works
Thanks.
so nicely. Positive climb, gear up.
American
Nav.
221, we are ready for departure.
Look at this machine. Look at the weather. Love it.
American 761, runway 30 right.
American 721, we are ready for departure.
So above 570, we need to get above 900s. Climb. One click back. Thrust climb. Climb auto thrusts. And in just a moment,
Southwest 1015, radar contact, the altitude.
passing 2,000 feet, Southwest 1015.
Southwest 1015, thank you.
I assume that's so the controller can release the next aircraft. We shall see.
American 761, runway 30 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 20 right.
Let's get it up high.
American 761.
AP1. Above the S-speed, 230 knots. We can do that clean today. Flaps 0. Speed brake disarm. Round the turn we go. We're stopping at 5,000, remember. There's a beautiful Californian. Is it sort of the coast? We were just south San Francisco.
1015, turn right direct Spartans.
Brake button, Southwest 1015. Here we go. Let's not fail now. No. Where? Sorry, can you give us that waypoint again, Southwest 1015?
I cleared ILS from my 30 left approach.
Let's focus on what we're doing. So speed out star. It was a right turn anyway,
I
so
think
that's
that
what we're
was
doing.
blocked. Is that for Southwest 1339?
Southwest 1339, affirmative, at Clyde, cleared ILS from my 30 left approach.
At Clyde, clear the ILS 30 left.
Ah,
approach,
no, my
Southwest
sim bridge is not running
1339.
today. That's my mistake. Well, we'll keep the turn. I don't want to turn. I can't tell you over there because of the terrain. We know we're below MSA at the moment at 5,000 feet, although we are, of course, visual. Our controller said Barton. I really don't know where that was meant to be.
American 34 kilo runway.
Maybe it wasn't for us.
30 right, taxi via Zulu Delta Yankee Alpha 1.
Okay, well, let's do our checklist and then we'll worry about that. We've done those. Next is the approach. Okay, well, let's just do sensible things. Gears up, flaps are at 0. Lights are on. Get rid of the nose lights. Now the flaps are at 0. Okay, we're accelerating to 250. That's fine. And Southwest 1015. Sorry, which waypoint would you like us to direct to?
Southwest 1015. Proceed direct. Proceed direct Techie.
So Techie, Southwest 1015. There we go. Always worth clarifying. Techie. Nav, which is essentially what we were doing anyway. We're stuck at 5,000 feet as per the controller, which is fine. That is taking us off route, so before we get too far away, I would want to climb. As long as we don't make any more left turns, I'll probably be okay as we're visual.
American 761, thank you. Southwest 1015, climb maintain flight level 190.
Climb maintain flight level 190, Southwest 1015. 190, good news. That's above the MSA. Thrust climb, open climb.
Roger.
Set standards, and then we have out blue 190. Away we go.
Spirit wings 2233, runway
There's our
30
departure
right,
airport.
clear for takeoff.
Runway 30 right, clear for takeoff. Spirit
I like how slowly
2233.
it's accelerating those engines. The real one can be like this. It can be very gentle. Sometimes you're sitting going, why isn't it going? He was waiting for airspace. NorCal airspace is ridiculously complicated, says Lauren V. There we go. Interesting. Thanks for your insight, Lauren V. That Sirius pilot says, I didn't even make it to departure before my clearances were cancelled by the authorities. I have to go make dinner. Sorry, the Sirius pilot. Enjoy your dinner.
Try to flight question.
A noble cause. Mikhail says, hi all, a question for the community. I recently bought the ATR-72 for Flight Simulator. However, when I spawn in, all the screens are black and the power switch is not in the opposition, and it isn't fixed. I have a video or a guide, so hopefully that can help, but I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head what's going on there. The SJC departures go underneath San Francisco arrivals. There we go. So they're at 6,000 feet. So that makes sense then. Trouble Demon says, so you can set standard as soon as you're clear to the flight level. I always waited till I hit 18,000 or Microsoft Flight Simulator would complain. No, it should be like this. You can just set it on the way there because now we're going to flight level. Exactly. And once you're in a flight level and you're cleared down to an altitude, that's when you can set that as well. I should have done these messages. This is, again, not... This whole load cheat system is... Oh no, that's in the Phoenix. What message have we got then? It's the first one it's talking about. There we go. Yeah, load cheats are in the Phoenix, aren't they? Of course. 10,000 feet. Get the landing lights. Let the passengers out.
761, climb maintain flight level 190.
Flight level 190 still.
Go to airport. So what's nearby? Not much. I thought Los Angeles would be over
Spirit
here.
wings 2233, radar contact.
A lot further away.
Spirit wing 22.
Tom Corwine says, I was always taught to wait until flight level 180 in the US. Okay, well maybe that's standard in the US. I don't know. I don't see why, because like today we're leveling off at 190. So if we waited to 18,000 feet to set standard, and it was a big change, then we could find ourselves climbing too quickly or too close or busting through it. So it seems like a strange practice to me. I haven't tried the Headwinds A330 ever. Sorry, heavy weather. So I don't know what to do about that. I don't know what to do. James actually ended up last. There you go, James. But you're on the same frequency. That controller's done a fantastic job of getting us all out quickly there. So we're all doing well here. Sometimes some of us are in the cruise or starting descent as the last one takes off. Flying Nut says, for those not familiar with human factors, this is an excellent example of workload management. That's very kind of you. Workload management is essentially this whole job, so I really appreciate it. It's not always on this channel, but we do try. And it's the hard part about, you know, for all of you simming at home on your own, it's harder. You haven't got two people. The plus side is you can't have two different mental models when there's only your mental model, so you can save some time and workload because you don't have to be sharing that mental model, although I do share it with you guys. However, of course, my mental model of what's going on could be wrong, so that's the downside of being just me. as we've seen before, and we saw in the last stream where I was convinced the weather was nice all across Fiji, and we set off and it was foggy, wasn't it? And then we did the approach for a non-precision approach when we could have done the ILS.
Leave my airspace or air services terminated. Frequency change approved. See you next time.
Thanks so much for your help. We'll see you soon. Southwest 1015. Thanks. 1228. I think we got away with that. I think we're getting confident with American ATC now. This is good news. We're going out to flight level 390 for the cruise, so let's just go straight there. It's not a long cruise. There it is. Do any airports you fly out that do NADP2 departures climb thrust set after first flap traction? No, it's very... NADP2 is quite rare. I don't think I've ever set the flaps before the climb thrust. No. So Cameron Rich says in the USA, even if you're cleared past flight 180. But is that just common in US airlines, or is that a rule for some reason? It could be a rule. Lauren Reese says, don't forget we can have VFR traffic not talking to anyone, buzzing around as high as 17.5 on local altimeter. Our Class A airspace is only flight 182. Indeed, but we would keep this altimeter on QNH, same as we do in Europe. So you keep this until you're up above it. So now we are. I can put this to standards. So we still have reference to it. I don't know. I can't immediately see the advantage of keeping it on the altimeter, because like I say, there up to 190 we'd have had just given ourselves a chance to miss it and bust the altitude very quickly. So that's all I can think of. Mark says, I've seen US pilot bloggers set standards QNH once cleared into the flight levels. Steve-O, there you go. Yeah, it could be that some airlines have a practice, but I can't see why it's a rule, as long as we have a way to reference it. 4Prawn says, on the way down, do you get to transition altitude for the approach controller? Yes, usually. That's usually when that happens. Might happen earlier in America, though. 4Prawns, by the way, thank you so much for your tip the other day. Really, really appreciate it. Very kind of you. Thank you. How do long-haul pilots keep all the ATC customs straight in their heads? Do they also get an ATC briefing in their flight plan? No, firstly, they'll be somewhat used to it, because someone on the crew will know. And also their airline will probably have guidance if they're flying to other countries about what goes on at these airports and so on. Secondly, it's not as catastrophically different as it may sound at first. Remember, I have not read any briefing material on flying in the US, and we're getting there. Sometimes we have to clarify something, and that's about it. So if the controllers, generally they just want to help you and get you safely through their airspace. So, you know, like earlier, I asked about excluding the 5,000 restriction, and yeah, the controller just clarified. So it's not too much of a big deal. Most air traffic is relatively standard. More complex stuff would be things like using meters and QFE instead of QNH. But that stuff will take briefing and preparation. So the new A330 update has the best fly-by-wire systems and flypad. Well, that is good news. I'll have to have a look at that. Lauren B says, it's important because ATC gets the altimeter from you. So if you set standard early, you are showing different than your actual altitude before the transition altitude. Yeah, I suppose. That could be a reason. Again, in Europe, we don't care though. We fly around on standards, or if you're in the descent, and let's say we're at 20,000 feet, but we're cleared down to 5,000 feet, we'll be on QNH. But it could just be that the airspace is quiet enough in those areas, it doesn't matter. So yeah, there you go, that could be a reason. Kiki says, maybe if you're told to stop climbing 13,000 feet. Indeed, but again, that could happen in Europe in the descent or the climb. No reason it couldn't. You're at 3,000 feet, you're cleared up to flight level 100, and then they want to stop you at 6,000. You know, any of these things could happen. Frankly, if it's that urgent, you're just going to push the level off anyway, and then work it out from there if it's a sudden stop climb. Interesting debate though, or discussion. Rabbit says, time to start the cabin service here, back in 10. Excellent, enjoy. Thanks for doing that for us. Leo Cameron says it would depend. Where's Matthew Presley? Has Matthew answered? Matthew will know, or will have seen a couple of different airline versions. I'm guessing different airlines, maybe not. But I imagine Matthew's flown different areas anyway, if not airlines. Details are all way of my head, says Troubled Demon, but interesting to hear about. Yeah, it's one of those things. You know, there's two discussions here. Whether what they actually do in America, which I don't know, and I'm going to have to take the word of people who do fly in America, like Lauren V knows a lot about air traffic procedures. And then there's a discussion about whether it's sensible or not, or whether not sensible, maybe whether I think it's a good idea or not to delay setting the QNH until you're above the transition. It certainly makes most sense that in America, of all places, it would be common to leave it on QNH the longest because, of course, they have the highest transition altitude. It's always 18,000, so that does make a bit of sense there. The point about, well, if you were to set standard early and everyone else is on a QNH, you could say, well, that's probably that's an example of why having a transition level sooner is better, because of course, yeah, okay, so they've got VFR aircraft at 17,000 feet on the QNH, so if you're not on the QNH as well, then you're going up in standard. However, you're climbing or descending almost certainly, or certainly in fact you're climbing or descending. Oh, you'll be climbing if you're on standard, but they might use it for separation. But the reality is, in a jet aircraft up to 18,000 feet, you'll be soaring through these levels so quickly, they won't likely be much difference. You're talking about a few seconds difference between standard and QNH as to when they could turn you or separate you. So I don't think it makes much difference in that sense. Just guessing. But also, you could argue, well, why aren't the GA aircraft on standard? Because of course they will be flying from different regions, especially if they've gone up to 17,000 feet. So as they're flying along, they'll have to constantly change QNH, even though they're nowhere near the terrain in a lot of places. But there are parts of America where 18,000 feet is near the terrain. So maybe that's a place you would want it to be higher. If you go to the Alps in Europe, of course, the transition levels are all much higher because of the mountains below. Right, I will stop talking about transition levels now. There are too many possibilities, none of which I think are inherently wrong or right, put it that way. Firebird says, what's the transition altitude? In the UK, it's typically 6,000 feet, for an example. In some places, it's down at 4,000 feet. You can be down at flight level 50. I've done that before. $18K in Canada, there you go. So the Canadians will come with the American style. Lauren B says, we ask altitude with each new radar controller for mode C verification. If you have a wrong altimeter set, it will disagree from what they have on radar. There you go, yeah. And that's common on lots of departures. You get that. They'll say, tell us you're passing altitude. In fact, as a standard radio call, you will tell them. And then sometimes another controller will also want that. Joachim says, if you have planned flight level 85 in Europe and you get that flight level assigned early, you can switch to standard right away, as long as you're going to level off at 85. If you're leveling off flight level 85, then once you're climbing up towards it, you'd set standard. That's what I would do. Yeah. But remember, if you do get a sudden stop in climb, i.e. you're told to, then you'd need to on QNH. Tom Corwine says, I'm pretty sure Mode C always sends altitude based on 2,992. Well, you're getting past my knowledge now, because that would explain a lot. And I was wondering that, but I don't know. Remember, that's an air traffic side of things, and I haven't made space in my head to know it. James is at cruise. Well done, James. Yeah, we're not climbing the fastest ever. The gear is up, flaps are up, the speed brakes are in. Yeah. Just taking a bit of time. 7 knot tailwinds. Not helping, but not hindering us too much. Regular Chaos says, is 390 a bit high? No. As long as there's time there, then you'll go up. It has to be really short. But look at that, we're going to have over 100 miles in the cruise. So, yeah. Any flight over an hour and you can go straight up all the way. Storm Code's right behind, excellent. Mark says, do you normally open climb or VS to cruise? Open climb or managed climb? Pretty much the same thing, and especially when you get up here, climb is the same. It's climb thrust, the number you go. Flight dispatch says, I have a question about init B block fuel. When dispatching, I see some flight decks input block fuel is 7, but fuel on board is 7.1. Why do they do this? And Lauren V's answered it pretty much. APU usage at the gate or just rounding down for safety? It's either or. If you're sitting there and you're running the APU, so Lauren V's exactly right, yeah, you're running the APU and you've got both your packs on and it's hot and you're not departing for 25 minutes, then you'll just input, and it will say it was 7.1, then you just input 7. Some pilots will input 7 because that's what the flight plan was done on. So when you go to compare the numbers in here against your flight plan, you want it, if you want it to match perfectly, you'll do that. I personally don't do that. I just put in the fuel I think we'll be pushing back with. So if it's an hour to go, I mean, unlikely you'll set it up that early, but if it is, then sure, you'd round it down for the burn. But if it's going soon, then I just put in whatever is up there. Because, yeah, okay, the numbers might be 100 kilos higher, but then I know why. I think it's better just to be aware. But again, it doesn't matter if you round it down. So that's all that is here. 100 kilos isn't really here nor there. And once you get going, of course, it takes its fuel from the gauges anyway. Not what that number you put in there is basically for planning purposes only. James says, making progress with my PPL. Stalled exercises last time with prep for my first solo. Fantastic, first solo. What a moment. That's going to be brilliant, James. Well done. Fantastic to hear. Yeah, first solo is such a moment. Don't stress if you don't do it when you think you will, or if you do it sooner. You know, your instructor is there to decide when you're ready, and there's no harm in doing it later or earlier. It's just one of those things. Everything has to be right on the day. So there you go. Fantastic news, though. Flight dispatch says, I was going to ask, but flight deck were busy briefing. Yeah, that's a good question. Thousand feet to go. We're getting there. Livery looking great in the sunshine. Good climb rate. Pretty light really, 59 point, under 60 tons at top of climb. Yeah, we're very light. I don't need to accelerate today. We're doing good for time, unusually. That was a quick getaway. Often we're sort of taking off about now, not leveling off. Knockout star. Let us put TCAS to below. Fuel wise, we put 1.4 plus 4.2, so that adds up to 5.6, which is what we left with. A bit of a systems check. Have they fixed this yet? They have. Look at this. Or is it the Phoenix that adds this wrong? We'll scroll through the systems. Yeah, the Phoenix, I think that's this wrong at the moment. But there we go. Great stuff. 24. Oof. Soon to be complaining territory. So yeah, I flew with oh no, just do that. 390 out cruise. Yeah, I flew with Southwest recently, and I've got to say,
gentlemen, once again from the flight deck, your captain speaking. We've just reached our cruising altitude for the flight, and again to settle in, I do
cruise PA, very nice. Don't hear those much in Europe. Not on short haul flights. Yeah, the they made that PA as well about congregating the front galley. Yeah, on Southwest. That's pretty accurate. Again, you don't really hear that in Europe. The Southwest service I thought was really good. I really like the livery, and I was a bit excited to fly on Southwest anyway, because being in America, it's a novelty for me to see other bits of aviation, and it's rare for me to take a domestic flight while I'm over there. But what I really liked was the service. Southwest gave out, on our flight certainly, we had free soft drinks, which I didn't even realise. So I saw people ordering drinks, and I thought, oh, well, they must be paying. So I was just sort of staying quiet, assuming there's no way this is going to have drinks on. This isn't, you know, American Airlines or whatever. And I was in my mind thinking of it being a low-cost carrier. But yeah, soft drinks were handed around. And even when they finished doing the soft drink service, and they were collecting rubbish in, and I realised I'd missed out on a free drink because by this point I looked in the menu, they were offering more drinks. They said, would anyone like anything else? And you could ask for another drink. It was incredible. Really, really liked the service. Lauren V says it isn't really a low-cost carrier. No. They let everyone take 2 bags on the airplane, which is a problem for hand luggage, of course, but unusual for a low-cost carrier. Most in Europe now are charging for any luggage or any wheelie bag size in the cabin. So to allow 2 bags was quite something. Flop says, you flew Southwest. How was your stay in the US? It was great, yeah. The US is an interesting place. It's eye-wateringly expensive if you're coming from Europe now, of course. Breakfast at an IHOP was well over $40 without the tip. And of course you add 20% tip and tax onto that. So $40, you know, you're looking at over £35 now. I mean, it's heartbreaking. It's really, really expensive. It's getting to the point where you just can't. It's about the most expensive holiday you can do. You can go on some real luxury holidays elsewhere in the world, but that's partly the UK's currency becoming so devalued, or losing its value. Yeah, Southwest was great. Really liked it. Really liked it. They're a bit of a hybrid since they have free drink, snacks and don't charge for checked bags. Spirit and Frontier are true low cost. Right, there we go. Spirit and Frontier. I see Spirit mentioned on Family Guy, so they seem to be, yeah, more of a low cost type than Southwest. Southwest lets you check 2 bags for free to help with the cabin loading. I didn't know that, you see. So it's funny what you don't realise when you're just you can see why we, you know, when you work for an airline and so on, we get surprised when not surprised, but you'll see people who just don't know where the gates are, even though there's signs everywhere, and they don't know what bags they can have with them, and they brought the wrong size bag and so on. And you sometimes wonder, with all the information available, how did that happen? But there I was. And I worked for an airline, and I was struggling to I didn't realise I could take bags with me. Yeah, I assumed I'd have to pay to check in a bag, so I didn't really want to do that. And I thought to myself, well, when I get to the gate, I'll give them my bag to check in if they want to. But then they didn't offer, so I assumed they didn't need us to. I had no idea they gave you bags for free. It's what great service. How did you like the Southwest boarding? Now, the Southwest boarding I did not like. Because I was not able to get a seat with the person I was travelling with. In fact, I don't know why I was in the last boarding group. I don't know how you would have gone up a higher boarding group. I didn't see an option to pay for it either. There must be a way. But yeah, my group was like C or D number, and then a number, and then you'll get into a line. And I've never seen that in America. I didn't think people would be so. Well, for those of you who haven't flown with Southwest, my understanding was that they at the gate they have this queue system, and they say, right, Group A, and then in Group A you will have a number like 1 to 15 or whatever, and then there's B 1 to 15 or 1 to 30 or whatever it is, and then everyone seemed to want to get into order, exactly the order of their number. So it was really strange. I've never seen such a detailed queuing system, because of course in Europe, if you don't have a seat number, then it's just a free-for-all. You just get on the airplane when you can, and they'll take people who need special assistance and families first, obviously, and then the rest of you just get on in order. So it's a bit of a fight as everyone tries to get to the front of the queue to get a seat where they want, or near the front. But with Southwest, that wasn't an option. So by the time I got to the airplane, it was every single window and aisle seat was taken. So the only options were middle seats. And I didn't really know what else I could have done about that. To get Group A, you have to pay well before check-in. You have to check in exactly 24 hours in advance to get Group B, and everyone else gets C. There you go. Oh yeah, we didn't check in. I don't think we checked in until we got to the airport. We didn't know that. So Group B would have been a good group, because then we'd have could have chosen some seats together. Spirit, the whipping boy of US carriers, potentially, but they did actually rank second best in the country, says Lauren V. Only behind Delta. A lot of the metrics based on time cancellations and such. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Pay for early birds. Yeah. This stuff sounds obvious. I mean, I assumed there was a way to pay, but I thought it would just be like you just got to the gate and got on the airplane. I didn't realise that by not paying, I would be actively it would be guaranteeing my fate. Put it that way. I thought it would just be you could either guarantee your seat or not, but I sort of guaranteed that I wouldn't get my seat by being at the end there. So there you go. Full service airline Finnair will start charging for cabin bags that don't fit under the chair. Exactly. That seems to be the way we're going in Europe. Charging for bags that don't fit under the chair. Yeah. Cameron's always enjoyed flights with Spirit, youngest fleet of aircraft in the US. There you go. Flops through the now retired Norwegian 787. There you go. Interesting. Southwest have the best service in the US if they're having a good ops day, of course. Spirit service is pretty good as well, says Mark. Service in the US is always generally good, isn't it? It's like, yeah. Service is something America is. Of the many things America does well, that's something that is always a treat in America. Service level is always very high. Like I say, expensive, so you are paying for it, but it's often very high, and then you have the tip as well. Flyby 2.0 gave me a free hot chocolate and a shortbread. Maybe that's what bankrupted devs is flying for fun, yeah. It's frustrating because clearly America shows that we can have high service levels and airlines can still make money. But the difference, of course, in America is the average salary is much higher. But I don't know if that means it's proportionally high compared to cost of living. This is a whole other discussion that I'm not able to get into. Slum Code, here's a question I can answer. When we are inputting the zero fuel weight or block fuel into the MCDU, do we input it in tons or in pounds? That will depend on your aircraft's fit. So this one will be in tons. It's not happy about the fuel, is it? 2.7 tons. That seems reasonable for a NEO. We had 1 ton diversion fuel, 1 ton final reserve. So we've got 700 kilos spare. Why is it so upset? It's complaining about the alternate fuel. And it thinks you're having 1.8 into KPHX. But this says 2.7 into KPHX. Not sure. There seems to be some sort of bug there. As it stands, we have 4 tons, so I'm pretty confident we've burnt 1.6. That's pretty good. We'll be descending not too long. I think we'll be fine. So yeah, pounds or kilos depending on the fit of the aircraft. Indeed, Lauren V says the weight has to be correct. Airbus doesn't know the weight unless you tell it. Indeed, that is very true. If you're travelling with children, Southwest lets you board after the A group before B group. There you go. Lauren Reed says the airlines don't make money. It's the biggest loser competition, which has been dealt with several years. Again, close to by Spirit. Really? But then how are they existing and paying all their... Because I know the salaries, of course, in America are very high. We've discussed this before. Mark is not always impressed with the service in America either. Okay, interesting. To me, in general, in America, as you go around, you know... An example would be on a previous trip I've been for breakfast in a diner. It wasn't quite a diner, but they have coffee on refill, okay, which is just not a thing. You don't see that in England, certainly not very often. So you say with your pancakes, whatever, you'll have coffee and it'll just be refilled automatically, and they'll just be walking around refilling it. And this place wasn't that big, but they had 2 coffee stations with drip coffee, decaf and normal coffee on both ends of the restaurant, so that it was always on offer and the staff didn't have to walk too far or spend too long going to get it. And I know that sounds like a small thing, but that's just an example of the service that, you know, I've never seen anywhere in the UK or Europe that runs like that. Lawrence Draper says, on airlines and pay, etc., do long haul guys get more than short haul, or is it pretty similar? That does depend. Often, of course, long haul jobs go to experienced pilots, and therefore that attracts a higher salary. Jet pilots often earn more than turboprop pilots, not because of experience, but because jet pilots can usually go and get another job somewhere else. Turboprop pilots are more restricted. That is a typical and simplified overview of salaries, in my experience only, in Europe. So yes, you can expect a long haul pilot to be earning not much more. It's not a huge difference, but there is likely to be a little bit more involved. Remember, of course, a long haul aircraft generates more money for an airline. Xavier, thanks so much for your €5 super chat. Really appreciate it. Xavier says, do you operate NEOs? I do indeed. Is the slower spooled up concerning during bumpy approaches? Thanks for your videos. Got 3 ads but short, no problem if it helps you. Thanks, Xavier. I'm sorry about the adverts, but thank you so much for that message. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your super chat. Really, very kind. I do operate NEOs, and the slower spooled up during bumpy approaches is an interesting topic. For those of you who don't know, NEO aircraft approach at slower approach speeds than their older CEO aircraft. As a result, the engines which have bigger fans are running at lower power settings, and what you can get is there's a bit more noticeable lag. You can then combine that with the fact that Airbus got reduced the effective ground speed mini. So in a big strong gust of wind in a CEO, the airspeed would increase proportionally if it was an increase in headwind. On the NEOs, it's a third. So you put all that together and you find that actually the NEOs are different in gusty conditions. I would say a little more wallowy perhaps. The nose attitude will be higher, the speed will be lower, and the speed will more likely go in towards VLS and into VLS. I've seen it do both, while the engines sort of lag behind a little bit and the nose is way up in the sky. It feels very different. It looks different as well from the outside, which is what leads to certain comments on certain people filming landings, thinking that NEO aircraft pilots are doing a worse job. They're not. They're just flying a NEO, and it's different. And it's a different technique. Now, do I find it concerning? I find it different. If I was to fly NEOs every day, I would probably completely get over it and know how to fly it perfectly. Not perfectly, but I'd be much more used to it, and therefore that would be the norm to me, and I wouldn't think anything of it. But because I fly CEOs a lot, and I have flown them for longer, for me it's a different sensation, and it's something I would prefer the CEO style personally. But like I say, that's down to familiarity and experience on that type. Good question. Thanks, Xavier, and thank you for your super chat. I appreciate it. No free refills is my least favourite part of being in Europe, says Silver Strike. There you go. Four Prawn says, I like the airside cattle pen, then free for all approach to boarding. It definitely motivates everyone to get settled quickly. Yeah, it does. It's faded. I mean, EasyJet used to do it now in the UK, and they don't anymore. I think they give you a seat, don't they? Well, they do. I know they do. They didn't used to, but they do now. I didn't mind when they didn't used to. When EasyJet didn't give out seats, I would just board last and grab a seat at the back because they weren't usually full. But if they're full, it's a bit of a problem. You end up with this. What was surprising about the Southwest flight I did was how every middle seat was empty. Now, a lot of people on that plane must have been travelling together or not. Maybe in America it's less of a big deal to travel around, so perhaps because you fly more regularly, so perhaps people travel on their own more often. I don't know. Because in Europe, the chances are you'd be able to find a window or aisle seat because there'd be, people travelling together. So that's what I would do. I would board EasyJet at the end and just grab a seat wherever and let them check my bag in. Flight Dispatch 320, thanks so much for the $12.46 tip. Really appreciate it. Flight Dispatch says, loving the discussions today. Thanks for another great stream. A brilliant podcast. Katie Pilot, I really enjoyed it. Have a good weekend at the airport all weekend for me. Thank you so much, Flight Dispatch. Really, really kind of you. Thank you for the tip. Really appreciate it. Glad you're enjoying the stream. Glad you enjoyed the podcast. And I hope you have a good weekend working. I will be flying as well. Yeah, busy time for us over the weekend. So yeah, there you go. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it, Flight Dispatch. Very kind of you. And I hope your weekend runs smoothly. And yeah, glad you're enjoying the stream. I'm having fun today. Good chat. I always enjoy the streams, but this is why I do them, to have a nice chat. Here we go, getting out into the desert now, aren't we? Maybe next we'll take a Q400 up to Flagstaff or something like that. That could be fun, couldn't it? Not a long flight though, but some high elevation, landing at 7,000 feet. Mark says, yes, US customer service in general is amazing compared to other parts of the world. I've been to South America and EU, and I always have to remember this. There you go. Chaos says, at this point it should be CEO for the NEO and OEO for old engine option for the CEO. And I did wonder about that. Agreed. What are they going to do when it's not new anymore? Which it isn't. It's basically current now, isn't it? It's the current one for sale. You can't buy a CEO, so it's hardly the current engine option, is it? Lovely. See you next time. Thanks for coming along. I'll see you a bit later. Thank you. Thanks so much for your insights. What's the least you can work as an airline pilot, says Arbari. Well, that would be down to your airline and if you go part-time. I don't know. It depends on the airlines, what contracts they offer, I suppose. Runway 07 right is the plan. I've been told that was a good guess at Uska. Lauren B says, sometimes couples will take the window in aisles to discourage people from sitting in their row, then scoot over. That's what I suspect happens. It's very common sometimes. Yeah, that's what must have happened. Yeah. Yeah. These purple marks are all airports indeed. Yeah, they're not all necessarily suitable for you, but they're all of a reasonable size. It won't show general aviation airports or anything too small. Yeah, it depends on the airline what ones they want displayed, I think. Good question. The pilots need to adjust the cabin temperature when arriving at the airport that is hotter or colder. No, the cabin temperature, in theory, we are setting an actual temperature with this dial, so it's like climate control. It is setting that cabin temperature itself. So it doesn't matter, you're just telling it the temperature you want, so you shouldn't have to adjust it. It's not a hot and cold thing, it's a climate control thing. But let's say you land somewhere super hot, you might lower it in the descent or after landing, usually in the descent when both engines are running, and then you can get the cabin temperature down a bit, which might just keep it a bit cooler for the turnaround. I don't personally think it makes much difference. You're better off just having as much air going through as possible, but there we go. It does depend. If you're going somewhere super hot, that might be the way to do it. Close the window blinds, cabin on cool. Lawrence Draper says, if you had the opportunity, would you take a long haul job? Yeah, I'd like to fly long haul, see what it's all about. Something I haven't done. Patrick says it would be amazing if you get flight data sim on the podcast. I'll have to ask. I will have to ask. I've not tried the ortho add-on for X-Plane 12. No, interesting. I'll have to have a look at that. Did you turn off subs on Twitch? I don't have subs on Twitch, I'm afraid, Tootie Scooty. We're not allowed because we're dual streaming. But thank you for joining us on Twitch. 63 of you on Twitch. That's very great to see. As Twitch grows, you know, we'll see what we do with it. But yeah, for now, it's not available. But you can follow, which I do appreciate. Thanks, Flight Dispatch, for that tip. Thanks, Xavier, as well. And NEO, yeah, exactly. Death Lima Bean says, I'd love to fly more, but due to the car-centric infrastructure of the US, it's much cheaper to drive most places. It's a good thing I enjoy road trips. However, I'll be flying to Phoenix in the summer, so I got excited seeing the destination of the stream. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it is. I mean, our Southwest ticket, to be fair, I say I was expecting low cost. The price of the ticket did not suggest low cost. It was not the cheapest flight I've ever taken, put it that way. In Europe, you can expect to fly around for anything down to sort of £50-60 if it's an off-season quiet route. And I've seen cheaper, you know, quite regularly on low-cost, ultra-low-cost carriers. This Southwest flight was not ultra-low-cost, I can put it that way. But, again, America's more expensive in general, so I wasn't sure if that still counted as low-cost, if you see what I mean. Oreo, says Liana, our real engine option. There you go. Two Scooties going on Newark to Singapore on a 350. Fantastic, enjoy that. 350, very nice plane. To activate VNAV, Mohammed, we can just push this in. You push that button in with the up arrow, and that will put it into DES mode, which is effectively VNAV. Ed says, hi, are you using your simple FCU today? Just started building my DIY FCU using custom displays. It looks very similar to the real FCU display. Photos on Discord. I'll have a look, Ed. I will have a look. Very cool. I hope it's going well. I'm not using it for this flight today, but that's because I am not entirely sure if I'm sending it back yet or how I'm going to do it. So, yeah. But yeah, I enjoyed using it. The sim does show it all, says the Chaos. There you go. That's good to know. So yeah, because there are a lot of airports here, considering we're on quite a small range. I do occasionally fly single pistons for fun, but I want to do a bit more of that. I don't have a TikTok. So I use this video with your exact same domain on YouTube. How do you mean? Is there a TikToker going by my name? Is there? No. I don't have a TikTok, no. I know there's a lot of pilots on TikTok, a lot. Okay, a short Google doesn't suggest there is, which is good. Rap, thanks for your subscription. Come to Dubai. We could fly to Dubai. That's something we could certainly do. We haven't been out there. Maybe we could take 787 down that way. Do a long haul flight. Or the 747. Albuquerque Centres online system code. Thank you. Let's start preparing. So, we're now moving to the KPHX part. We're doing the Hyder 1 RNAV. Coming in via BLH to Hyder, and then we're going via, let's have a look. I've put Alice, which is none of these points. That's disappointing. So let's go to plan, zoom in, constraints, and scroll through. So we're going by Tesla, Valgo, Kagor, and then along, and then straight in. I don't really know where that point is then. Where's Alice? Is it back here? Go via Blythe. Is it on the approach plates? So 07 right is apparently common for Southwest. Nope. Not there either. I don't know. And we're doing the... Let's get rid of the transition as well while we're doing the BLH. I mean, it's all in there for now. I'm not going to fiddle with it, actually. It looks pretty good. Then we're going to fly down this. Now, something to note about Phoenix. It's not sea level. It is 1,200 feet up, I think. Elevation 1,100 feet up. So we need to be aware of that. Good. Thanks for the follow. It's also potentially quite hot, so we will grab an ATIS if they're online. They are indeed. Actually, we'll grab it on here. KPHX arrival. Send. 27 degrees, so still not into the hot weather rocks, which is good. Shudog says Phoenix Sky Harbor is a great airport, easy to navigate, quick security, quick bag delivery. Very good. Very good. James, I'm doing direct BLH, Hyder 1, KPHX. Yeah, we're pretty much doing that. So 11-2, see slight dispatch. Oh, there it is. Yeah, but we're coming out from the south. This is the initial fix. So we're not using Alice then. We're getting onto this from the other way. That's no problem. It's deleted it. That works for us. Good news. Thank you. Right. Received. ATIS. Prints. I am going to write this out though. So I have something to say to the controller. Information Bravo. We've got so much information. 1305. So it's light easterly. They could potentially put us on the other runway. We could land westerly with that wind. Wouldn't be unreasonable. Altimeter 3001. we'll have a whole discussion about when we're going to do that. Simultaneous approaches. Yeah, which runway are they going to say? Approach from north, expect visual approach, runway 8. Arrivals from south, expect visual approach. Oh, look at the lighting, so good. Arrivals from north, expect visual approach 8. 7 right, departing 7 left. Cranes, yeah, 5G, yeah, lots of that in America. Cool. So visual approach 7 right is effectively what we're on. I'm going to have the ILS in there as a backup. Good news. So 7 right is pins. So there we go. So nothing too unreasonable about it. Let's have a look through our flight plan. Top of descent. There's no too steep path messages, although we know the VNAV is a little bit experimental still. Some interesting profiles on this ILS. Let's have a quick look. ILS DME 11075. It is ooh. Now we've been caught out by this before. Look at that. 1.5 reading at the thresholds. At 2.5 you are 1 mile from touchdown. Why would it be like that? I don't understand. Anyway, to counteract that, KPHX. Yeah, we had this in San Francisco, didn't we? 07 right. So that will go there. Now I know the distance to the threshold. And I'm going to put in a fix on the runway thresholds. And I'm going to put in a fix of 6 miles. Or a radius, sorry. 6 mile ring. So I've got a 6 mile ring around the threshold. Therefore, at 6 miles, I'm going to put out the flap and the gear if we're doing a visual approach. And I want to be 2,000 feet above the runway, and then I'll do a 3-degree descent from there, because that works out. Now, 2,000 feet above the runway means being 3,100 feet. So we'll be 3,100 feet at the blue ring. And if I go to plan, flight plan, I mean, I can't see a visual approach is effective. We can just fly the ILS, assuming it's online, which we know it is in the sim, and then that's matches with TOTI, which is 7.2 on the IAHA, which is 6.5, 6 miles roughly from the threshold. That's really bizarre. They tend to turn the airport around and land in the west in the afternoon. Interesting. Okay, thanks, Shoe Dog. We should be just ahead of that. James Atkinson says, how did you do the fix info? Select 1 left on a normal sort of waypoint. Oh no, it doesn't work in the real aircraft, you can, but select 2 left. No. Yeah, 1 left, fix info. There you go, and then type it in. So I typed in the airport, then the runway, and that will be the threshold you're writing it in. And then you can put a radius, a blue ring around it. So I've done 6 miles. Gerda says, your YouTube video helped me a lot learning to fly the 320. Thanks, Gerda. Glad you enjoyed them. For Prawn says, I've been going down a rabbit hole of landing FPS G at landing in the Phoenix with Volanta. I'm consistent, but 1G and 250 FPS in the Phoenix. I know it's all nonsense. What do others get? There you go. I don't measure mine that accurately. Trouble Demon says, I've heard of fixes but never seen them before. Yeah, it's a really useful way to do it. Also, let's put in the minima, 1369. So remember, we're doing a little hat now. Flight plan we've done. Radnav, IAHA 11075, 3 degrees 078. That's all correct. Again, we might be doing a visual, but we know the DME is a bit funny. So on the progress page, you put in the threshold. Performance time now. Let's do all the weather. So altimeter 3001. Temperature 27. Probably going to be high when we get there. Wind 1305. And minima 1370. Barrow. Landing config full. Next phase if we need it. Going around. Oh, that's a long one. Climb to 3.3, then a climbing right turn to 5,000. I'm heading 250. Outbound on PXR VOR radial 163 to PopK. D15 PXR and hold. Well, ridiculous. But there it is. Out, background, intercept, and down to the hold at PopK. Stopping at 5,000 feet. Now remember, putting this in here doesn't really matter unless you have an engine failure, but we do it there just in case. Good fuel, 400 kilos extra now, plenty. 1.8 required. We're going to land with 2.2 according to this, no problem. Secondary not active. So there we go, that's now set up. So to fly the visual, we'll get ourselves flap 1, 180 knots. We'll descend down to our altitude of 6,000 feet, which is going to be above the MSA when we're visual, or in this quadrant anyway. When we are visual and we're happy to go below, I will descend us down past this ridge down to 3,100 feet, aiming to be about 3,100 feet, 160 knots, flap 2 at 6 miles. That's my blue ring, which is about Toti at that point. So coming in towards here, flap 2, 3,100 feet, and then passing Toti, lining up gear down, flap 3, flap 4, and then we'll descend down 3 degrees. Now, in terms of auto brake, it's not actually the longest runway in the world, 07, right? 2,300 meters, no inset threshold, but we'll go medium auto brake. Idle reverse, of course, as it's so dry. Cool. So that's the plan if we do a visual. If we do the ILS, we'll of course just join it. And we'll be a little bit careful of these restrictions. They look quite tight. So you've got 3.6 miles between these points to lose 1,000 feet each time. That means if we're too fast, we're not going to manage that. We need to be flap 1 with the speed back below 180 to do that at a reasonable vertical speed and not accelerate. And even then, we'll need to be getting out maybe flap 2 to do it. So those are possibilities. After landing, something we almost never talk about, crossing another runway, so we'll be careful. Don't park over on terminal 4, I guess, over here. But yeah, landing, vacating to the left. Light headwinds, light airplane. We'll be off at Gulf 5, I would imagine, or 6 maybe. It's a little bit shorter runway, so if we float. The steep path messages and more drag messages are not yet implemented, so keep that in mind. Thanks, Chaos. So that's a great point. In the real aircraft, because we've got the wind accounted for, it's quite a good idea. You can look through this and you can see all these waypoints. So here we go. This is that section where we descend 1,000 feet every 3.5 miles. And it's not uncommon to see in the Airbus, it's a too steep path. Now there is a sort of VNAV here, so let's compare it. At Tesla, we should be 7,000 feet. 7,000 feet. Valgo at 6,000. 6,000. So you can see here it is actually going to level off at these waypoints and decelerate. So it's confident it can do it all. But the real aircraft may well, if it had a funny wind in there or whatever speed it thought you were going to be at, it might say too steep path ahead or too steep path for that section. In which case you would just need to make sure you were ready with the speed brakes or the flaps. You need to do something other than just letting the airplane decelerate down it naturally on its own, because it doesn't think it's going to make it. This one today thinks it will, and it thinks at Toti it can be 150 knots, 3,000 feet, which should be perfect. Good. What's on here? That's going to be the approach checklist, so that's all good. Fuel we've discussed, 3.2 tons. We know the MSA, so 6,000 feet is going to be our safe in this area to the west of the airfield, but we should be very visual. It looks like a nice day. Look at that, flying over the desert. This was exactly what I expected. It's just ridiculous, isn't it, this scenery? That's a bit of a photo shoot. It's time. It's time. Love it, love it, love it, love it. What is all this over here? Farming, is it? I guess. Have they irrigated it from this water supply? You just don't see things like this in Europe. These vast empty spaces with nothing around. There's always just cities and farms and cities and villages and farms. Giant Axe says, since I saw a recording of a landing at Paro with low water brake, I've never used medium. How often do you use medium? Yeah, I use medium relatively regularly. You can land with low and then take over if you like, but it could be, in a lot of places, you know, low won't actually work with the numbers, so you have to effectively say, well, I'm doing a manual braking, which in theory, according to the calculations, would be maximum manual, but I'm going to engage low just to have in the background. But if it works, it works. Strong headwind, it works. Yeah, you could use low for lots of things. But yeah, medium's doable. Medium is noticeable in the cabin. If you're landing in an Airbus and you feel it really slow down, then you're going to really feel it. Like, medium is pretty serious. Pretty serious. I have heard the ADIS horn. Why have I heard that? So there's a horn that goes off to tell you that the ADIS are still on when you're on battery. It's to tell you they're on battery power. That can happen if your GPU drops out and you haven't got the APU up and running. So if it fails, the ground power unit fails, that could happen. Yeah, that sort of thing. There are farms in the Imperial Valley. Thanks, Silver Strike. Irrigated by the Colorado River. Fantastic. The Salton Sea is the result of a canal from the Colorado bursting and flooding the basin. It's terrible smelly water. Oh, I didn't know that. Goodness me. So much about the world I don't know. Flight Dispatch asks, if landing a busy airport, say Gatwick or Heathrow, would you use medium to vacate quickly? Yes. That's exactly a busy airport. Medium can just get you off the runway at the right point. Yeah. Phil Norbert, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us today. Great to have you here. Good afternoon to you. It's nice, isn't it? It's 7:30 in the UK, but it feels like the afternoon because we've got still daylight. Nice time of year, this. Captain Wazza says, need to pop off to do dinner. Looking forward to getting my hands on the Fly-by-Wire. Now I've joined the hype of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Fantastic, Captain Wazza. Thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoy it. I'm sure you will. Glad you like the camera work, MSJN. So James has stayed down at 200 to enjoy the scenery. I hope you're doing alright for fuel, James. But there, that's fantastic. That is fantastic scenery. Well worth it. Aditya, do pilots use medium auto brake to make a high-speed exit often? If it's a busy airport and you're always landing in busy airports, then maybe. It does depend where you fly. But yeah, medium is not unusual. Not unusual by any means. You know, if you're in a heavy A321, very common. I am indeed on that Sim Fly 320. Oh dear, Flying for Fun says there's an aircraft walking 7700 on stand after a diversion. Oof, that's a bad day out. Hope it was just a procedural sort of 7700. Sometimes there's certain things that you can tell air traffic control, and they will ask you to squawk certain things just to make it clear to other controllers. James says fuel was not considered. 6.2 tons, that'll be okay. Yes, if you still got 6.2, you'll probably be alright. Yeah. Thanks, Philadelphia, for the subscription. Right, we're getting there. 20 miles to go to our top of descent. I will load up. I'm going to do this at top of descent. New procedure. We'll load up the recording software now. I don't load it up at the start because A, there's so many things to load up. I often forget something more important for this departure. but also it does stay on screen. I leave it on the top so I don't miss it. 350 knots may have helped us, James. Fantastic. I heard something about a drone last week, Flight Dispatch. Yeah, I heard something. I don't know the details of any variety. There you go. Recording software is ready to go. Yeah, I have to load up so many programs. What have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 applications running at the moment to make this stream possible. Fly320 says, I didn't join your streams for a long while. Glad to be back. Thanks for coming back to see us. Really appreciate it. We haven't been doing as many as we'd like. Phil Norbeck says, I purchased the X-Craft Embraer 190 last week. Have you played around with them yet? No, I have not. No. Are they good? Do you enjoy it, Phil? No, Mikhail, you do never use max brakes to land. Albuquerque on 1328 will want to say hello soon. Phoenix currently landing easterly. Thanks, Laura V. Yeah, we have their latest. So make sure we have the latest. We were on Bravo. Still on Bravo. That's good news. Here they are. Well predicted. 1328. Laura V is always on top of their traffic control. 132. 8. Okay. Do they go by the name Albuquerque? I'm assuming so. Oh, here come the clouds. Perfect for our arrival, as usual. Dear. We are southwest 1015. We are routing to Hyder. Albuquerque, good morning. Southwest 1015. Flight level 390 to Hyder.
So 1015 Albuquerque Center. Hello, score 3735. You're gonna make Skull at 250.
Squawk 3735, and I believe so. Yeah, Southwest 1015. Hold on, which point?
So 1015, you're ready to contact about 75 to the west of the Blythe VOR. You can descend via the Hyder 1 arrival. Phoenix is landing east of the altimeter 3001.
Altimeter 3001 landing east at Phoenix. We can descend with the Hyder 1 arrival. Thanks, Southwest 1015. Sorry, I'll just check if we can do Skull. Well, first of all, it's level at 250, so let's start down. Thrust out open descent. Yeah, so this has not put the whole arrival in. That's my mistake. Because we didn't put the BLH in. Sorry, yeah, we won't make Skull Southwest 1015. It was missing from our flight plan. Our mistake. Insert that.
That was 1015. No worries, I got traffic behind you, so you can plan to hold over Hyder as published at flight level 190. You can expect for the clearance 5 minutes.
Okay, we will expect to hold at Hyder at Southwest 1015. Okay, no, down we go. That was entirely my bad. Let's put in the hold at Hyder. Does that mean the traffic behind us is being put ahead because we're too high? I don't know. Anyway, we'll put it in. As published will be 037 right turns.
Albuquerque Control, good morning.
We're getting punished. Is James going to get put in front of us?
999 is flight level 200 by BLX.
037 right turns, and it's a 7-mile hold.
Albuquerque Center,
Quite a big hold.
3336.
There it is.
Insert. 3336, goodbye 99, thank you.
Citation 622, your radar contact, climb maintain flight level 390.
So we need to be below 190 Hyder. Now if I get myself down, I don't see a problem with carrying on, so let's do that. we can dive down easily.
Albuquerque,
Speed brakes out.
999. Can I just confirm that last squawk 3336 over?
Speedbird 999, that is correct. Squawk 3336, 3336.
Now this isn't quite right.
3336,
Not all the
999,
speed brakes go up like that. It's not. Yeah, it doesn't use all the speed brakes, and these are ground spoilers. But there we go.
Speedbird 999, correction 999.
Look at that
Ready
descent rate.
contact about 100 nautical miles to the west of the correction to the Buckeye VOR. Let's see. You're on the Hyder, correct?
So we have to be below 220.
yes, correct.
190 at Hyder. So I'm going to put in 190 for now to avoid having to figure out whether I need to set the QNH or not. And then I'm going to put it into managed descent. Des.
Just maintain.
And it's incredibly high, but we're going to easily level off below 220 there.
Descend via the Hyder 1. Phoenix is landing east of the altimeter 3001.
The chaos says only the visuals are rolling. You can check flight controls, it works. Ah, that's very cool. There we go. 3 and 3, yeah, that's exactly it. Nice one. Fly-by-wire, always one step ahead. Out of fuel tank transfers, which is good. Starting down. We've lost our medium auto brake. See if I can convince that to stay on. That's my hardware interfering.
Flight level at flight level 250 at Skull.
Bearing to 2233 Albuquerque Center, hello, squawk.
Why are we not appearing in
actually,
there?
no, you're doing that. You're ready to contact over Skull. Phoenix landing east, the altimeter is 3001.
Landing east and altimeter 3001.
Yeah, 90 miles.
Bearing 2233.
That was our
via the Hyder 1 arrival.
very genuine top of descent point, but also an important point for the arrival. No, Southwest does not have any 320s, I'm afraid. No, we are being a bit fictional today.
Delta 1790, just confirm, can we take the visual for runway 08?
There you go. The chaos says it's a limited solar model. Interesting. Interesting, thanks. Fly 320's upgraded to Microsoft. Excellent, and enjoying that.
Take your.
Lauren Reese is holding. Why doesn't he just vector?
10 to 11 o'clock, 15 miles, port and site.
Copy, we'll continue descent and...
what we're doing back here, that's the transition. We can do better than this.
Delta 1719.
No trouble.
Do you have the airport?
At these altitudes you have and speeds, you have so much room to decelerate. Sorry, to descend. This airplane can dive like... they're very good, very good. Hold to rare, says Phil.
Delta 1719, we have the airport inside.
It's my fault. I reckon we won't need to though.
Right.
The red and white balls are used to judge your eye line. So you line them up. Chaos has got dinner, excellent. Much faster than the American height, yeah, that's it. But nice of him to warn us, so I know. In terms of fuel, holding's not ideal, but we are sitting with 500 extra. Yeah, I said we'd have about 600 to 700 extra, so we're making that up.
So 1015, you can continue descending via the Hyder 1 and disregard the hold at Hyder, you should be fine.
Thanks very much. Continue descent with the Hyder 1, Southwest 1015. There we go.
1015, just say your speed real quick.
We're reducing to 280, but we can give you anything up to 330.
Let's see, so it's 1015. Let's do 300 until further advice.
300 knots, Southwest 1015.
American 761.
I have no trouble giving the controller whatever he wants there because we messed up and he's helped us out. So we're going to pull 300 knots. Let's go into vertical speed. Let's put it back into DES. Now let's get the correct altitude in. So next altitude, I mean this goes all the way down to 5,000. We're going with the arrival. So I'm going to put that in and then I'm going to set the altimeter to... Oh, what's that for us? Too busy doing things. 3001. 3001.
Apologies for that. For Spirit Ring 2233.
So we're now onto altitudes because we're going below the transition. So 15,000 magenta is good. This is the Fly-by-wire VNAV being put through its paces here. So thank you to Fly-by-wire team for this because it's excellent. So 15,000 feet. It needs to be below 190 and above 15,000. So it's gone to 15,000. We've set it to QNH because these are altitude restrictions now. That once I'm putting the altitude window below. By the way, in the real aircraft...
15, you expect the visual approach from 7, right?
Roger, Southwest 1015.
American 761, we expect the visual approach.
Yeah, in the real aircraft, if you stayed on standard, it would still apply the correct restrictions. It's very clever. Anyway, we're keeping 300 knots, so that's giving us more room to descend because these speeds are actually lower. Look, 265 knots, 250 knots, so we'll be able to get more height off if we need it. We're a little bit high for now, but that's soon not going to be a problem. Next, let's get rid of the hold. Another great thing that Flybywire have given us.
Unless you want
Hyder to Gila. Now it should still connect. You should be able to get rid of the hold, but there we go.
Alaska 2361, Roger, expect the visual.
With the restriction, it's got the magenta suggesting it's not going to make something. I'm guessing it's the speed. No, it's the altitude. By 5,000 feet. I'm hoping it will level off at 15,000 now. Let's see what happens. Out magenta. Looks like it will.
And good afternoon, Albuquerque Center, Delta 2018 with you, 51320.
Delta 2018 Albuquerque Center, hello, squawk 2, correction 7203.
7203, 2018.
Out of constraint. Yeah, I haven't seen this ortho plugin. I need to have a look for X-Plane 12. Very interesting. So 15,000, it's worked. This is good news. We're just keeping the speed up. Selected speed might have confused it. Yeah, true. Yeah, that makes sense. Again, I'm not sure the real aircraft would have been confused. It's not very common to do such long arrivals in managed mode, really, in Europe.
Delta 2018,
Beautiful
ready to
day.
contact about 30 to the south west of the Panhandle of the Welcome.
Okay, happy to be here. Also, Albuquerque Center 2018. I got to step away for about 10 minutes.
Streamer, hello to you. Thanks for joining us.
Right back. Like horrible timing.
Thrust idle Des. There we go. Carrying on down to now below 17, above 11.
Offline, and if I have a problem, but
distance to the runway 53 miles. It's 1,000 feet up, so we are 14,000 feet above. So we need 14, 28, 42 plus deceleration, so about 50. So this is working out.
1330 Albuquerque Center.
Yeah, this does now say brake medium in the real aircraft, depending on your fit. So a NEO, yeah, probably would. It's a new Airbus thing. Armed mode is on there, and it will go active when you land. It will go green.
Is with me.
It's not on all aircraft, but yeah, it's quite common now on the newer NEOs. I have not tried the new cockpit textures. This is the experimental version.
1330 readback correct.
Are these the new textures? They all look very good. For that, even the coffee rig and the cup holder, love it. But the A320NX textures have been good for a long time. They are very good.
Mark 34 Kilo Albuquerque Center, hello, let's see, squawk 3010.
Haven't changed in a while, yeah.
You're ready to contact over Skull.
I recognise this pen here.
Via the Hyder 1 arrival, Phoenix landing east, the altimeter 3001.
3001 is what we're on. There's speed mode. So what's happening here is we're levelling off because with that speed at 300 knots we can descend a little bit quicker than we could otherwise. That is allowing us to descend and level off. But it's going to bite us later because eventually with these level offs we're not actually descending at the speed at the rate we need to given how fast we're going. So we're going to find ourselves low and fast potentially here.
Albuquerque control speed mode 999 is approximately 30.
Dev version as of yesterday is the most advanced. Ah, I didn't realise. It's experimental retaring. That's the plan. Right now though you only have the custom experimental version. Okay, interesting. Yeah, we're looking forward to the A380 Flybywire. Absolutely. Cannot wait. That's going to be just glorious. It looks amazing. Ah, yeah, sorry. Flight Dispatch, thanks so much. Thank you. I'm so sorry about that. Flight Dispatch very kindly tipped at $6.23. Really appreciate it. And I'm so sorry I missed that one. Flight Dispatch says, nice and chilled evening flying along, enjoying the chat with the community. Cracked open a cheeky beer, but don't tell the chief pilot. Flight Dispatch, really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much. So sorry I missed that one. Yeah, it's very, very kind of you. Enjoy your drink. Yeah. I'm very jealous, and yeah, I'm looking forward to a nice dinner and a nice cold beverage soon. But thank you so much for coming along, and thanks for joining us. Thanks for the nice chat. Thank you all for coming along today. It's been great. And for once, we're at the front of the queue, screaming in at high speed, no holding. This is great. But yeah, thank you so much, Flight Dispatch. Really appreciate it.
1719, welcome to Phoenix. You can take a right.
Joshua says, why does Airbus have Blu-ray cockpit? I don't know. Just what Airbus came up with.
And let's see. You said the Echo Gates, Terminal 3? So 1790, roger. You can take straight ahead, right Charlie, and the gate will see you.
Turn right at Charlie and the Echo sent you Delta 1790.
I'm continuing making 14 on 5 with you, confirmation Bravo, IFR to El Paso.
American 1405, Owl Creek Center, hello. Number 1, request. Center, good evening. Skywest 55.6, information Bravo, IFR, spot please.
Thanks, Ken Flight Dispatch.
26 Owl Creek Center, hello. Number 1, request. American 1330, request to start. 1330, push start.
Better than green cockpit, says Yaroslav. There we go. Yeah, we've seen green cockpits, brown cockpits. Anyway, 10,000 feet, landing lights on, seatbelts on.
2360, run runway 8, clear to land.
We're clear for this transition, expecting the visual, but we're basically going to be on the ILS, so I'm going to put up the ILS as a backup.
Show 8, clear to land, 2360. So 2732, ready contact lost.
That small rumble when the landing lights extend, chef kiss. Yeah, the sounds are just super, really good. So there we go, 8,000 feet. I'm going to put in the transition, the platform altitude now for the ILS, because we've cleared all the way down, actually down to 3,000. That's where we're joining the ILS. So let's put it in. Now it's definitely time to reduce. Speed limit exceeded, 23 miles.
And 15, resume. You can resume normal speed.
There we go. Thanks for resuming normal speed, Southwest 1050. Manage speed. But you see now, the nose is going to come up as it tries to reduce, and our planned altitude will descend beneath us. We need the speed brakes. Speed brakes out. Normal speed also officially means get back to the speeds in the box, as it were, or the planned speeds from the chart. That's very slow at 210 knots, so we won't be too worried if we're a bit fast there, but yeah. Speed brakes out. I had one pilot complain to me once that he couldn't do it because I signed in the visual. There you go. Lauren B says, we'll often tell you to join the localizer final approach course when giving a visual approach so you can back it up with an instrument procedure. There we go. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do today. I'm actually, because I'm managing the fact that we're high, I'm going to deal with that before.
So 1015, Phoenix Airport, 12 o'clock, about 18 miles, port site.
Wilco, Southwest 1015. I genuinely can't see it. Airports are always hard to see in my mind. Oh no, there it is. We're just ridiculously high. Airport in sight, Southwest 1015.
So 1015, Cleavers approach from 7 right.
Cleavers approach 7 right, Southwest 1015. Right, anyway, let's get flaps out. So speed's good, flap 1. We're going to go slow now. That's the only way we're going to do this. We're going down to 5,000 feet, which is platform. I'm going to do this as a glide slope from above. So we're going to arm the approach. We're going to wind the altitude above us, and we're going to pull the vertical speeds 1,500.
Yeah, I'm very serious.
We're 16 miles out, so we're still, or 15 miles out, so we're still okay to try for flap 2. Let's see if it happens. Speed is okay. Flaps 2. Let's wind the altitude further out the way. Don't want it to level off, and we're going to pull the vertical speed again to force it into that. Now let's keep an eye on that speed. So we got speed brakes and flap 2. We might need the gear. Speed, vertical speed 1500, glide slope is armed.
2233, resume normal speed.
It says glide slope star.
Normal speed for...
I'm a little bit worried about what it's going to do here, because there's no way, the real aircraft would not do glide slope star that far out. I'm so sorry, I'm just going to restart the recording. Sorry if I'm missing anything in chat. I don't know why it's gone to glide slope star, that's a little bit disappointing. 14 miles. We're looking for 5,000 feet at Kagor. We're only 700 feet high. Cat 3 single, put it in the second autopilot. Let's just keep an eye on this glide slope. Glide slope capture is too early, says the Chaos when capturing above. Yeah, that's definitely, it wouldn't do it until, it does it on a sort of closure rate, but it wouldn't do it until much closer. Yeah.
American 761, the Phoenix Airport now, you're 12 o'clock, 1.
Right, Barra F is on QNH, seatbelts are on, minimums are entered, auto brake medium, engine mode, that is no, that's done. Next is a landing checklist. We're 10 miles out from touchdown now, 3,000 feet above the runway, this is all looking pretty good. So you see why I didn't want to put the gear out or we'd have to drag it in all this way, and we have managed, the flat 2 drag has been sufficient. Now, if it was hotter here, that might not be possible, or a tailwind. We're 1.5 miles closer, indeed, Igloo Food. So we're 9 miles out, 3,000 feet above the runway. There's glide slope. That's more like it. 180 knots. I'm going to keep the speed brakes out. I want it to decelerate a little bit more.
So 10, 15, the wind 1305, runway 7 right, cleared on.
Good land 7 right, Southwest 1050.
American 761, we have to inside.
American 761.
Good stuff. 2.6 tons of fuel, plenty. We're sequenced. Let's now put the go around now shoot in. We agreed 5,000 feet for the go around. 170 knots as we pass through 7.5 miles. Still looking good. Quite slippery today. And let's get the right runway. Easy not to in America. There's 07 right, the short one.
Delta 761, runway 8, clear to land.
These cloud types. Oh, it's a good question, Sebastian. I'm glad you enjoyed the content. These are like just normal cumulus, stratocumulus maybe.
American 1067, your radar contact about 91 to the northwest.
Sort of standard clouds, maybe even stratus. A little bit fluffy perhaps for stratus.
Delta 761, runway
right,
8,
speed break away. We've got 1,900 feet. It's 1,000 feet difference. That makes sense.
Correction, American 761, American 761, runway
Get down.
8, clear to land.
Arm speed brakes. Nose lights on.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
Being wrong to the cabin crew. Flat 3. Flat full. Landing checklist, ECA memo, landing no blue, we're cleared to land. That is landing checklist complete. Right, here we go then. We are recording. Feet up.
I gotta go, so I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect.
Ah, that's always a shame when you're on approach, when you have to leave.
Citation 62, no worries. We'll
But it happens.
You have a great day.
Controller's doing a fantastic job with us all, especially after my bad start to that approach. Look at the scenery. Is this photogrammetry? This looks really good.
American 1330, request taxi.
American 1330, runway 8, taxi Alpha.
Size, Phoenix is a huge place, isn't it? Look at that. Stadiums and big buildings. And the heat. I know this place gets well above 40 quite easily. Right. Autopilot off, 2 whites, 2 reds. Cat 3 single, it should actually say Cat 1, there it is. Still got a medium auto brake. Trouble Demons likes the engine heat. I do, although I think the effect is better in X-Plane 12, I must say. A bit more of a blast.
We have the airport in sight, Spirit Wings 2233.
Spirit 2233, cleared visual approach, runway 7 right.
Oh.
Cleared through to the post from A07 right.
Well, I don't know what the glide slope did there. No need to follow it, just drive it towards that touchdown zone. That was my bad reaction to it. 3 reds, a little bit nose up.
For your information, we park at Alpha 24, American 761.
Gently driving to the touchdown zone now.
Wings 2233, the wind 1305, runway 7 right, clear to land.
30, 20, retard.
Idle.
10,
Oh, that's a bit much.
5,
There we go. Anytime today. Reverses out, nose gear down, let the medium take strain. Gonna miss the first exit, no surprise after that float. Add manual brakes, we'll take the second exit, it'll be too stressful on the passengers otherwise.
So 1015, welcome to Sky Harbor, you can exit left when able, safe parking.
Exit left, we'll park on the south side of Terminal 4. I suppose
So
shouldn't have.
1015, roger, you can taxi parking via Foxtrot 11, Delta 11, Delta into the gate, cross runway 7 left at Fox 11. Good day.
Thanks, Foxtrot 11, cross 07 left at Fox 11, Delta 11 to the gate. Thank you so much. Thanks for your help. Brilliant. Right. Here we go. So, Fox 11, so we're going to taxi along, basically getting away from the runway, and then Delta 11 and into Terminal 4. So, easiest way we can do it. I'm going to leave everything on for the replay, but we'd of course clean up the aircraft. There's a headwind. The passengers floated from A to B as it was, exactly. And we made it in our Freedom 1 livery. Isn't that fantastic? What a good bit of fun. Nice when airlines spend a bit of money on a bit of fun, I think.
1405,
We can get rid of speed brakes.
7 left taxi via Charlie Sierra Echo.
This is just the default airport, by the way. But yeah, really nice scenery. Foxtrot 10, so we're going to the next left, Foxtrot 11.
People 999, look like established for runway.
Oh yeah, we should go to San Diego. Ignafu says, we'd love to see you do R927 at San Diego. 3.5, with amazing approach, short runway, swirling winds, terrain, and view the city. And that would be very interesting in Microsoft because we get to see the...
airport in sight, by chance.
That's affirmative, airport in sight.
It's all clear.
999, roger,
We'll check if you get that. Yeah, it's we get to see the effect of the turbulence, mechanical turbulence, wind over the buildings.
761, welcome to Phoenix, seat taxi straight ahead, Charlie to the gate, we'll see you.
Toliss is good. American 721, thank you for the time.
Yep.
Awesome.
Seabird 99, Atlantis control, apologies, it's 07 right, localizer established.
Seabird 999, roger, runway 7 right, correction, clear visual approach, runway 7 right.
Clear visual approach, 07 right, thank you.
That was good fun. Really enjoyed that.
Good day, American 787, with you level 340, inbound Panhandle.
American 787, Albuquerque Center, hello, squawk 5, or correction 1571.
We'll just go near and park.
Squawk 1571, American 787.
This is pretty bad default scenery. No,
Albuquerque Center,
not too useful.
8.
American 1330, runway 8, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, American 1330.
We do have a replay coming today, which is good news. If that's what you wanted, I suppose. Swinging it around. You'd be pretty sick at the back of this airplane after all that.
99, localizer established, blind zone established, runway 07 right.
James has made it down to the glide slope. I reckon somewhere.
American 34
there.
Kilo, you got traffic about 5.
Ah, short.
5
Yeah,
miles
short.
south of the gate, 5,600.
Good stuff. So,
on the,
look at the scenery.
7
Just
right
glorious.
approach,
Just wish the airport could be a bit better. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the team doing
Roger, maintain visual separation with
doing
that
the
traffic and,
the community builds.
Airport should be 12 o'clock, about 8 miles.
Oh,
north
no,
that
don't want that. That's what we want. Yeah, looking forward to it when the community can work on these airports. Right, let's go and see some colleague landings.
American 787, you're at a contact about 61 to the east of Panhandle VR, welcome.
There's one colleague down.
Thanks, American 787.
Delta 2081, Lima airspace to North Denver Center, offline, radar services terminated for tape proves the
E-Boss, glad you enjoyed it.
American 34 Kilo, Roger.
The BM World Phoenix is great. Has the train? Oh yes, of course. Sky Harbor train is famous, isn't it?
Who's calling for taxi? Sky was 55.
Yeah, this city.
Sky was 55.
This must be photogrammetry. Look at it.
Right taxi.
Where is the train?
Left. There's a left taxi via Charlie Sierra Echo.
Alright,
Where is it, the other end?
27 right. And we have a CRJ kind of blocking the alleyway here for us.
Anyway, let's go see our colleague Lance.
Yeah, we have a CRJ, seems to be in front of us, blocking the alleyway exit, so might be here for a minute.
Where have they gone?
Sky 5526, roger. That's I don't see anything on my end. That must be your end.
Possibly a little bit far out.
If you want to ignore it or not.
Sorry, James. I hope landing goes well, but I'm going to jump back.
Bearings 26 welcome Sky Harbor. You can take Fox 11.
I do apologise. I'm going to disconnect from VATSIM.
Actually, where are you parking it?
VATSIM's done a fantastic job for us today. And Stormcode, glad you enjoyed it. Stormcode's parked A24. Excellent. Excellent. Some fantastic controllers today, yeah. Get a nice window view ready. Good. And let's go to the replay. I think this landing's going to be pretty predictable. A bit of a float. A little bit of a, well, certainly an overflare. No doubt. Photogrammetry is super nice for sure. Bridges and roads can get weird, stretching the ground, but it's great. Yeah, it does. From any sort of reasonable distance. Sorry, James. Sorry. So there we go. Into the flare. Too much flare there. Lowering the nose. And then I did a sort of second flare. And down we go. That's about it, really. Well in the touchdown zone, just a bit of an overflare. Look at that scenery, love it. So let's put ourselves back out on approach. 2 hours and a half. We've actually managed it at a reasonable time. 7 miles out, a little bit far. Put it here. Let's put it here. And I'm going to say, thank you all so much. Let's put the thrust levers back somewhere. On the speed brakes. Thank you all so much for coming along today. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed it as well. It's been great fun to chat. Great to be back on the stream. That's unusual. There we go. Great fun to be back on the stream, and thank you so much for the kind words. Remember, the podcast is available on Spotify as well as on the YouTube videos. We'll be back with more live streams soon and more different aircraft. Great to see the progress of the Flybywire A32NX. It's just lovely as always to use, so really had good fun with it. Thank you all so much for taking the time to come along and chat. Really appreciate it, and thank you for those incredibly kind super chats and tips. Thank you to the moderators as well for looking after us. Thank you for just watching along if that's what you've done. Do please, like I say, the podcast is available. If you share the word about that, that does help, because the podcast doesn't get much visibility otherwise. And also, if you enjoyed the video, do please, or the stream today, do please leave a like on YouTube. It makes a big difference. Thank you all so much for coming along. Do please keep safe and well. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.